Hannah, I got your family together today. As your husband, please don't mess up the cooking. I'm expecting great hospitality. Roy, thanks, but I just had twins and came back from the hospital. It would have been nice if you considered that. What? Talking back to me, it doesn't matter that you just had babies. Having kids is what a wife should do. Don't use giving birth as an excuse. Just cook quietly. 1 week after leaving the hospital with the twins, Roy invited 15 family members to his parents' house to celebrate. I should be happy, but it seems he wants to take advantage of me after giving birth. I was really tired of my husband's behavior. I wanted to throw my phone at him, but I didn't want to ruin everything. So I calmly said, I'll start preparing everything now, but I'll need your parents' help. Getting help from my parents? Not possible. They're working in another country. Yes, as my husband mentioned, his parents couldn't come to today's family event because they're abroad. He seemed to think less of me, but he didn't know everything. I was already planning my revenge. After a quick chuckle, I went outside and returned to my in-laws' house in 5 minutes. Roy was surprised and asked, Hannah, who are these people? I don't know them. Why are you bringing strangers here? It was no wonder he was shocked. These two weren't family, but they were related to him. Let me introduce Ben and Claire. They're helping with today's preparations. You must be Roy. We've been looking forward to meeting you. We know a lot about you. Looking forward to meeting me. But both Ben and Claire seemed serious, despite being polite. They gave my husband icy stares. Confused, Roy whispered to me, Come here for a moment, Hannah. He took me to a quiet place, looking confused. He demanded, What are you doing? It's crazy to invite strangers without asking me. How will you explain this to everyone? There's no time. Get rid of them and start cooking now. Like always, he tried to scare me with his tough talk. But today, I wasn't going to let him win. I stared back at him, sure of myself. No need to worry. Everything's set. Actually, I'm planning to confront you with your mistress's parents here. What? My mistress's parents? Them? Roy, you said they were strangers, outsiders, but that's because you didn't know. I do. I kept calm, just telling the truth. Roy was shocked and then got angry. What you mean by my mistress's parents? I haven't cheated, and why are you acting like this? Are you disrespecting me? He got louder and raised his fist. It was so loud that the family might hear. It was clear he wasn't calm. What's happening, Roy? I heard shouting. Is everything okay? Oh, it's nothing, just a little argument with the wife. She's stressed because of the babies, he said, forcing a smile and hinting for me to leave. What a weak man. I followed his orders for so long, but not anymore. I went back to the living room where everyone was. After a big breath, I started my comeback. Here we go. Roy, you'll regret this. Everyone, thanks for coming today. I have something to say. I'm divorcing Roy. The happy mood disappeared in a flash. What? People were confused in my in-laws' house. But I kept smiling. You've all been fooled by Roy. He's not the good guy you think. He's a coward who bullies his wife secretly. He looks good outside, so you didn't notice. I found out just a year ago. People whispered, but Roy's uncle stood up. What's happening, Hannah? Divorcing right after having babies? And it's hard to believe Roy would trick us. He even said he was cooking for you today. I'm sorry for surprising you, but I'm just telling the truth. When I got pregnant, Roy changed. He made me work hard even though I was pregnant. Even today, he wanted me to cook. He's always lying. I looked at Roy. He looked blank. It seemed like he was trying to hide his true self. But I knew what he was thinking. Don't say too much. You know what will happen later, his face seemed to say, even though he looked angry but blank. But I kept talking. Roy kept telling me that it's normal for a wife to get pregnant and have babies. I work and provide for you, he'd say. He used these words to treat me badly. He never showed this side of him before we got married. His parents and our relatives looked surprised, but they knew I wasn't joking. So confusion spread. Then Roy stepped forward. He took a deep breath and forced a smile. It seems there's a misunderstanding. I'm not perfect. Maybe I've been too harsh to my wife. But I've taken care of her a lot. Unfortunately, she only remembers the bad things, and what she's saying isn't true. Maybe she's not thinking clearly after having the babies. I wish I could have supported her better as a husband. As Roy gave a sad smile, the relatives felt sorry for him. He's so good at looking good, I thought, but not anymore. You're really good at winning people over. No wonder you're important at your dad's company, someone said. Hannah, I know you're upset, but it's not right to confuse everyone like this. Let's talk calmly later. Roy held my hand gently, trying to stop me, but I looked at a corner, signaling what to do next. The couple stood up. No need for that. Look at these photos, they said. What? You're still here. And what are those photos? They showed the relatives some pictures. The relatives were surprised to see these strangers but still looked at the photos. Suddenly, they gasped in horror. Hey Roy, what's going on? Explain this so I understand. Let me see those photos, I said, taking the photos from his uncle. Roy was silent, looking shocked. The photos showed his cheating, something he never wanted anyone to know. These photos prove Roy's been cheating on me. I knew about his affairs before I went to the hospital and gathered evidence. But I couldn't investigate much while pregnant, so I asked his mistress's parents for help. I'm Ben, and this is my wife Claire. We're sorry to disrupt the gathering, but we had to clear our daughter's name. Hannah, our daughter Rachel, worked with Roy. She got the job after a lot of effort and was excited to go to work every day. But Roy hurt her deeply, Ben said, his voice filled with emotion. Claire choked up and Ben put his hand on her shoulder, leering at my husband. Rachel told us she met a great guy. She was born when my wife was 40, so you can imagine how happy we were. But to Roy, Rachel was just a fling. He lied about being single and fooled her even though she was much younger. When Rachel found out he was married, she got really depressed. We'll never forgive Roy. A silence filled the room. The relatives looked at the photos again and then turned to my husband. Their trust in him seemed to vanish. Hold on, are you all believing these old folks? Photos can be faked. They might just want money. We were surprised they're here too, but would they really lie at a family gathering? I can't believe this, my husband said. But if you're innocent, stay calm. And calling them old? That's not nice, I said, trying to calm him down. It was clear he was losing control, showing his true colors. Our plan was working and his panic showed it. Suddenly, someone slapped my husband. Everyone gasped, especially my husband, who looked shocked. Hey Roy, long time no see. Hi, everyone. It's been a while, Mom, Dad. What are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to be overseas? There was something important, so we rushed back, my father-in-law said. Well, you came back just in time. Hannah's saying weird stuff. She's making everyone think I'm the bad guy. I didn't do anything wrong. She must be losing it, my husband said. But the in-laws just looked at him, not saying a word. You know, they talk about postpartum depression. Maybe you should go to the hospital, get checked out by specialists and rest. Then you'll listen to me like before, my husband said, trying to convince them. He thought their silence meant they agreed. Looks like Mom and Dad get it. That's good. Oh, I'm thirsty. Hannah, water, he said. His mom quietly gave him a water bottle. He looked surprised but drank it anyway. Then my father-in-law dropped a bomb. Roy, you're fired from the company, he said. My husband spit out his water, shocked. A relative nearby frowned as he wiped his clothes. What, Dad? Why are you joking about this? Decide if it's a joke after looking at this. Is this a call on speaker? I'm the one who called. I had your parents listen from the start, everything on speaker. Why? Because I needed their help. As soon as I realized who you really are, I knew I had to tell them. Plus, I've recorded all the times you've treated me badly during my pregnancy. I let them hear it all. And today's conversation is recorded too. I played the recordings. The phone played our conversation. Roy, today, I've gathered our family for you as my wife. Don't embarrass me with your cooking. I'm expecting top-notch hospitality. Thank you, Roy, but you know I just gave birth to twins and was discharged from the hospital. A little consideration would have been nice. What? Talking back, it doesn't matter that you just gave birth. Besides, having children is a basic duty of a wife. Don't use postpartum as an excuse. Just cook quietly. When my husband insulted me, I really wanted to throw my phone at him. But I stopped myself because it would ruin everything. The reason I endured his insults was because I was recording them. I made sure the recording was on when I called my parents from my in-laws' house. You were recording, Hannah. Why were you sneaking around? Roy asked. I don't want to hear about sneaking around from someone who bullies his wife and cheats. And if I didn't do this, Roy would try to deny everything. I replied. Roy, we know everything. We came back secretly today. We listened to your statements on speakerphone and confirmed your true nature. My parents said. We didn't doubt you, Hannah, but as parents, we wanted to believe in Roy. And this is what happened. Now, it's your turn to explain. Why did you cheat, Hannah? when Roy was supporting you so well? As my father-in-law spoke, my husband seemed to lose his confidence. Working at his father-in-law's company, he saw him as an authority figure. He must have realized his father-in-law wouldn't accept any excuses. He started to speak hesitantly. I only got married to make you happy. Honestly, I never really wanted to get married. But I knew you were worried about my future. I thought marrying someone like Hannah would ease your concerns, he confessed. The in-laws and other relatives frowned and looked at him coldly. Feeling the tension, he quickly pleaded, "Please don't fire me. I'm an important asset to the company, right? If I'm fired, it'll cause chaos. I'll change, I promise. Please reconsider." As soon as he finished begging, there was a loud thud in the room. His father had slammed his fist down on the nearby table. "You scoundrel. After getting Hannah pregnant, you dared to play with the emotions of an innocent girl, pretending to be single. How dare you? Your presence only brings chaos to the company. I can't trust you to run it. I'm deeply disappointed in you. You act selfishly without caring about others' feelings. That's not how I raised you. Do you understand?" My father-in-law's voice was filled with anger and disappointment. "And you married just for appearances? How disgraceful. Don't think you can easily regain our trust. I'm cutting ties with you. Don't show your face here again." "What? But I've worked so hard. Are you serious?" My husband looked more hopeless than I'd ever seen him. I knew he put a lot of effort into the company. It was understandable for him to be shocked that it all amounted to nothing. But it was his own fault. He tried to play the victim, but he was the one who caused all of this. As he hung his head, I gave him a cold look and he immediately knelt before me. "Hannah, please talk to your parents too. If I lose my job, it'll be hard for both of us, right? I'll really change. Please help me, Hannah. We're still married." How convenient for you to play the husband card now. As I've already told everyone, I'm divorcing you. No matter how much you apologize, I can't forgive you. And they feel the same way, I said, looking at my parents. They nodded in agreement. He bit his lip and turned to them. "I'm really sorry for hurting your daughter. I'll apologize as many times as it takes." He kept apologizing, but they didn't agree. No matter what he said, we wouldn't forgive him right now. He was still hiding something terrible while saying sorry. He was still trying to trick us. "It's too bad, Roy. You're still pretending. If you'd been honest, things might have been different. But like I've said, we know everything now. There's no going back," I said, smirking. He looked at me, stunned. "Pretending? How can you say I'm not sincere?" "On what basis?" he asked, confused. "You embezzled company funds, didn't you? And then you used that money to hire thugs to threaten Rachel to keep her quiet about your true self. You wanted to silence her, right?" I accused. "You're crazy. I would never do something like that without proof. Making such wild accusations without evidence, that's absurd," he protested. "Your parents have been investigating and have proof. That's why they're here. I've also talked to Rachel herself. I even have the voice recorder she had. Should I play it now? It clearly records you threatening her," I said. He paled and nervously glanced at his parents-in-law. Their stares were icy. "Roy, stop fighting a losing battle. The truth will come out soon. This alone is enough for you to be fired," they said. Cheating is one thing, but embezzlement and blackmail change everything. I didn't know the extent of it all. "Roy, you always underestimated me. You thought I was useless. But with everyone's help, we've come this far. And I'll protect our baby. I won't let you manipulate me anymore," I declared. I made my final statement. "Listen carefully. I'm divorcing you. No amount of apology will change that. You'll also be paying child support. We'll seek damages from Roy too. Rachel's lost time can't be undone, so at least be sincere in compensating her." Wait. I don't have that kind of money. Can someone please help me?" Roy pleaded. He looked around, but received only cold stares. Slowly, one by one, the relatives began to leave, ignoring him completely. In just one day, he lost everything. Soon after, my divorce from Roy was finalized. I managed to secure almost the amount I hoped for in child support, which was a relief. They filed a lawsuit against Roy, as promised, and the company conducted its investigation into the embezzlement. Roy found himself drowning in debt, seeking help from me, his parents-in-law, and other relatives. But no one offered assistance. With the news of his embezzlement spreading, no company would hire him. Eventually, he resorted to borrowing from payday lenders, struggling day by day to pay off his debts. My in-laws apologized to me once more, assuring me of their protection from Roy's harm. They promised to keep an eye on him and always support me. I'm incredibly grateful to them. Right now, the thought of marriage doesn't appeal to me, but if I ever reconsider, I'd want a partnership like theirs. That's how I feel. A few years later, the twins have grown up and started kindergarten, which has made a big difference in our lives. They even help with household chores now and support me in every way they can. I've completely cut ties with my ex-husband, but I still keep in touch with his parents. They introduced me to a company owned by a friend of theirs, the president of which is a single mother who raised her son alone. She's created a workplace that's supportive of single mothers. They've been understanding of my situation, offering flexible work arrangements. Rachel also works there. She's successfully reintegrated into society and is now a beloved figure in the office with her radiant smile. It's no surprise her parents stood by her. Seeing their dedication to their daughter, I have a lot to learn from them as a parent. Rachel is eager to repay her parents, and I'm also working hard every day to repay my in-laws' kindness. Though there are still challenges ahead, seeing my children's smiles instantly comforts me. I cherish every moment spent with them and am grateful to have them in my life amidst all the difficulties. Sometimes I think back to something my ex-husband used to say, that having children is just a wife's duty. But as I watch my children grow, I realize how extraordinary it all is. Pregnancy and childbirth are sacred and bring immense joy. While this experience has left deep scars, it has also taught me something valuable. For the sake of my children and myself, I want to keep moving forward and live life to the fullest.
The laughter hits me first. That particular pitch of forced politeness mixed with judgment that only comes from family. I pause in the doorway of my parents' oversized colonial, gripping the handle of the apple pie I spent 3 hours perfecting this morning. Already, I can feel my carefully applied confidence starting to crack. Inside, the annual Morrison family reunion is in full swing. The familiar scent of my mother's cinnamon potpourri mingles with whatever trendy essential oil my sister Talia is diffusing this week. Voices bounce off the vaulted ceiling, cousins comparing private school choices, aunts trading passive-aggressive compliments about weight loss. "Lindsay, you finally made it." My mother materializes, pristine in her cream cashmere sweater. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes as she takes in my department store blazer. "We were just talking about you." That should have been my first warning. In our family, being talked about is never a good thing. I follow her into the great room where conversations pause just a beat too long. My sister Talia holds court by the fireplace, radiant in designer white that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She catches my eye with a smirk that makes my stomach clench. "There's my hard-working sister," she trills. "Tell everyone your big news." Heat creeps up my neck. "Oh, it's not official yet, but I'm up for senior account manager at—" "No, tell them what you told me last week. About the executive promotion?" Talia's eyes gleam. I freeze. I never said anything about— The laughter starts soft, then builds. My cousin Jaden won't meet my eyes. Even my father, usually lost in his crossword puzzle, is watching with uncomfortable fascination. "Oh, honey," my mother sighs. "Talia was just having a little fun. You didn't actually think they'd make you an executive, did you? In accounting?" The room spins slightly. "What?" "It was just a joke," Talia says, still wearing that perfect smile. "I told everyone how you've been dropping hints about this huge promotion. I mean, it was pretty obvious you were making it up for attention. We all know that's not really your level." Each word lands like a slap. The pie plate slips in my sweating hands as decades of family dynamics crystallize in one horrible moment. Every achievement I've shared, every milestone I've celebrated, they've all been jokes. I'm the punchline they've been laughing at all along. "Lindsay, dear, don't be dramatic." My mother's voice has that edge that always preceded childhood lectures about disappointment. "We're just trying to help you be realistic about your capabilities." I look around the room at these people who are supposed to love me. Aunt Marie hiding her smirk behind her wine glass. Cousin Derek actually recording this on his phone. My father suddenly very interested in his newspaper again. And Talia, beautiful golden child Talia, basking in my humiliation like it's her personal spotlight. Only Jaden looks sick about it. He starts to stand, probably to defend me, but I can't bear his pity right now. "I have to go," I manage, backing away. I forgot. I have a meeting. On Sunday? Talia's laugh tinkles like breaking glass. See what I mean? She can't even lie convincingly. I flee, their amusement following me down the hallway. In the foyer, I fumble with my coat, desperate to escape before the tears start falling. A text lights up my phone, from Brennan at work. Found something weird in the quarterly audit. Need to talk ASAP. It's about your sister. The message blurs as I stare at it, my hands shaking. All these years of trying to prove myself, of swallowing their subtle cruelty, of believing if I just worked harder they'd finally see me as worthy. But they never will. Because that's not what this is about, is it? I think of Talia's designer outfit, her perfect marriage, her meteoric rise at her investment firm, the golden daughter who can do no wrong. Except, what was that about the audit? My phone buzzes again. Seriously, Elle, this is big. Your sister's name is all over some very questionable transactions. The tears dry up as something harder takes their place. If they want to treat my life as a joke, fine. But maybe it's time I started looking more closely at their perfect lives, starting with whatever my sister's been hiding behind that flawless facade. I leave the pie on the hall table. They can choke on it for all I care, because I'm done trying to earn a seat at their table. It's time to flip it over instead. I sit in my car outside my childhood home, watching raindrops distort the porch lights into watery stars. The reunion's still going strong inside. I can see shadows moving behind the bay windows, probably gathering for my mother's traditional family photo, the one she'll post on Facebook with some saccharine caption about blessed family bonds. My phone keeps lighting up with messages from Brennan. Each one makes my hands shake worse than the last. These transactions, someone's cooking the books. Need to meet in person, too sensitive for text. Elle, this could be serious fraud. I should drive straight to the office. Instead, I find myself walking through the side gate, drawn to the warm glow of the kitchen window. The familiar path feels different now, like I'm trespassing in my own past. Through the glass, I see my mother arranging desserts on her prized silver tray, probably for the photo op. Even from here, I can tell she's switched out my homemade pie for something store-bought and prettier. The back door's never locked. I slip inside, the kitchen's warmth hitting me like a physical blow after the rain. My mother startles, nearly dropping a crystal bowl of berries. Lindsay, I thought you'd gone home to whatever meeting you made up. Why do you do that? The words escape before I can stop them. Why do you have to make everything I do sound pathetic? She sighs, that particular exhale that always made me feel 2 inches tall. Don't start. I won't have you ruining another family gathering with your sensitivity. Another? I laugh, and it sounds strange even to me. When have I ever ruined anything? I'm the one who shows up early to help set up, who remembers everyone's dietary restrictions, who spent 3 hours making a pie you apparently threw away. Store-bought is more reliable. She won't meet my eyes, rearranging cookies with surgical precision. You know how particular Talia's friends are. Talia's friends? Something clicks. This isn't even a family reunion, is it? This is another networking event for her? My mother's silence is answer enough. All those relatives, they're not just family. They're investors, business connections, people Talia needs to impress. And I'm the awkward sister whose very existence threatens her carefully curated image. You could learn from her, you know? My mother's voice goes soft, almost pitying. She understands how to present herself, how to make the right connections, instead of hiding in that dreary accounting department, counting other people's money. The irony of her words hits me like a punch to the gut. If Brennan's right, Talia's been doing a lot more than counting money. What would you say? I ask carefully. If I told you Talia might not be exactly who you think she is? For the first time, my mother looks directly at me. Something flickers behind her eyes. Fear? Don't. Don't what? Don't try to tear down your sister just because you're jealous. It's beneath you, Lindsay. Or maybe it isn't anymore. The casual cruelty steals my breath. In the living room, I hear Talia's laugh, bright and false as fool's gold. My phone buzzes again, Brennan sending another urgent message about needing to meet. You're right, I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Maybe it is beneath me. But you know what's really beneath me? Pretending everything's fine while you treat me like some embarrassing family secret. I'm done performing for your approval. I turn to leave, but her words follow me. If you do anything to hurt your sister's reputation, don't bother coming back. In the hallway, I pause by the family photos lining the wall. Years of carefully staged moments. Talia's graduations, awards, engagement. I'm in some of them, always slightly out of focus, like the camera itself couldn't quite be bothered with me. But there's one. I step closer, squinting at a picture from last Christmas. Behind Talia's perfect smile, her laptop screen is visible. And those numbers. My phone buzzes one final time. Brennan. Found the smoking gun. Meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m.? I text back a single word. Yes. Outside, the rain has stopped. Through the front window, I watch my family gather for their photo, arranging themselves around Talia like planets around their sun. My mother was right about one thing. I won't be coming back. Not until I've exposed exactly what kind of star they've been orbiting. I start my car, already planning tomorrow's meeting. They wanted to make my life a joke? Fine. But I've got a feeling nobody will be laughing when this punchline hits. Monday morning hits different when you're about to destroy your sister's life. I arrive at the office an hour early, watching sunrise paint the downtown buildings in shades of gold that remind me too much of Talia's perfect highlight. Brennan's already waiting in the conference room, his usual crisp appearance rumpled like he's been up all night. Spreadsheets cover the table, and his laptop shows complex financial diagrams I barely understand. You look like hell, I say, setting down coffee for both of us. Wait till you see this. He pulls up a file. Your sister's firm has been running a sophisticated pump and dump scheme. They're artificially inflating stock values, then selling before the crash. Classic fraud, but the numbers are massive. I lean closer, my accounting brain kicking in despite the emotional storm. And Talia's involved? She's not just involved, she's orchestrating it. He points to a series of transactions. These are her authorization codes. She's been doing this for years, Lindsay. Millions in investor funds just gone. The room spins slightly. I think of all those networking events at my parents' house. All those family friends investing their savings, trusting the golden child who could do no wrong. There's more, Brennan says quietly. Look who some of these investors are. I scan the list, my heart stopping at familiar names. Aunt Marie's retirement fund, Cousin Derek's college savings for his kids, even Jaden's startup capital. They're going to lose everything, I whisper. They already have. These accounts are empty. Your sister's probably planning her exit strategy now. My phone buzzes. Speaking of the devil, a text from Talia. We need to talk. Lunch today? I show Brennan the message. His face goes pale. She knows we're looking into this. Someone must have tipped her off. What do we do? He runs a hand through his disheveled hair. Officially, report it to the SEC, but they'll take months to investigate. By then, she'll be gone with the money. I finish his thought. My family's money. My cousin's children's futures. There might be another way. A new voice makes us both jump. Devin from legal stands in the doorway, holding a manila envelope. Sorry, couldn't help overhearing. I've been tracking similar cases. I've always liked Devin. He has kind eyes and that rare quality of actually listening when people talk. Now those eyes are serious as he spreads photos across the table. Your sister's been meeting with this man. He taps a surveillance photo. He specializes in creating new identities, helping people disappear. My coffee turns to acid in my stomach. When? Last meeting was yesterday, right after your family gathering. The pieces click together with sickening clarity. That's why she orchestrated my humiliation. She needed a distraction, something to keep the family focused on poor, pathetic Lindsay while she prepared her vanishing act. I have a friend at the Journal, Devin says carefully. If we take this to him now, today, it hits the morning edition, before she can run. That would destroy her, I say automatically, years of protective big sister instinct kicking in. She's already destroyed herself, Brennan counters. Question is, are you going to let her destroy everyone else too? My phone buzzes again. Talia. Come on, sis. Important family matter to discuss. Don't make me tell Mom you're being difficult again. The familiar manipulation hits differently now. All those years of subtle undermining, of using our parents' disappointment as a weapon. But this time, she's not just attacking me. She's preparing to rob our entire family blind. Give me your friend's number, I tell Devin. But first I need to have lunch with my sister. They both stare at me. Are you crazy? Brennan hisses. She'll know something's up. Exactly. I gather the evidence into my bag, hands steady despite my racing heart. She thinks I'm still the same pushover she can manipulate. Time to show her how wrong she is. Be careful, Devin warns. People who feel cornered. I know. I manage a smile that feels more like baring teeth. But she forgot something important. She taught me everything I know about wearing masks. I text back, lunch sounds perfect, sis. Can't wait to catch up. The response is immediate. Wonderful. LeBlanc at 1, my treat. Of course it's her treat. She's paying with stolen money after all. I stare at my reflection in the conference room window, practicing Talia's signature everything's perfect smile. Game on, little sister. Let's see who's really been paying attention all these years. LeBlanc's lunch crowd drips old money and corporate power, exactly Talia's scene. I spot her at a corner table, wearing cream silk that probably costs more than my monthly salary. My Target blazer feels like a costume in comparison. Lindsay. She air kisses my cheek, her perfume expensive and suffocating. I ordered us champagne. We're celebrating. I slide into my seat, noting the exits, the security cameras, the witnesses. What are we celebrating? My promotion, of course. Her smile is radiant. I'm being made partner, the youngest in the firm's history. Partner. While her clients' accounts bleed dry, I take a slow sip of champagne, letting the bubbles mask my disgust. Congratulations. When's the announcement? Next week, though. She leans forward, voice dropping conspiratorially. I might not be around for it. Marcus and I are planning an extended vacation, very extended. My hand tightens on the stem of my glass. Where to? Oh, somewhere without extradition treaties. She laughs like it's a joke. Maybe it would be, if I hadn't seen those documents this morning. Actually, that's what I wanted to discuss. I have a business opportunity for you. The waiter arrives with our salads. Talia orders hers with dressing on the side, always in control, even of something this small. I need someone I can trust to handle some paperwork while I'm away, she continues once we're alone. Just signing a few things, maintaining some accounts. The compensation would be significant. Understanding hits like a punch to the gut. She's not just running, she's setting me up to take the fall. Why me? I keep my voice neutral, spearing a cherry tomato. Because you're family. Her hand reaches across the table to squeeze mine. And because I know how much you struggle with money, this could change your life. The worst part? 5 years ago, I might have fallen for it. Might have been so desperate for her approval that I'd have signed anything she put in front of me. Like you changed Aunt Marie's life? The words slip out before I can stop them. Or Cousin Derek's? Her smile doesn't waver, but something cold flickers in her eyes. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. I pull out my phone, showing her one of Brennan's spreadsheets. The numbers don't lie, Talia, even if you do. For a moment, her mask cracks. Fear, anger, and something like respect flash across her face. Then the perfect smile returns. Those numbers can be explained. But more importantly, she leans closer, voice honey-sweet. Think carefully about what exposing them would do to our family, to Mom and Dad's reputation, to your career. My career? Who do you think will hire an accountant who turned in her own sister? Who betrayed family loyalty? Her laugh tinkles like breaking glass. Besides, who would believe you over me? The sister who's always been, what did Mom call it, oversensitive? Each word lands like a slap, but not for the reasons she thinks. I'm not hurt by the manipulation. I'm angry at myself for not seeing it sooner, for letting her weaponize my insecurities all these years. You're right, I say, standing. Who would believe me? Relief floods her face. I knew you'd understand. Now about those papers. But they might believe him. I nod toward the man entering the restaurant. Zuriel, Devon's journalist contact, right on schedule. He's very interested in understanding exactly how you made partner so young. Talia's face goes white. You didn't. Actually, I did. And that's not all I did. I drop a USB drive on the table. Copies of everything went to the SEC this morning. Turns out being the overlooked sister makes it really easy to gather evidence. No one notices the accountant in the corner, do they? She grabs my arm as I turn to leave, nails digging in. You can't do this. We're family. Funny. I gently remove her hand. That excuse doesn't work on me anymore. Mom and Dad will never forgive you. Maybe not. I meet her eyes, feeling strangely calm, but I forgive myself for every time I let you make me feel small, for every time I chose family loyalty over doing what's right. Zuriel is making his way toward our table, notebook in hand. Talia's perfect composure is crumbling by the second. One more thing, I say, dropping cash for my untouched salad. I'm not oversensitive. I'm just finally done pretending not to see who you really are. I walk out of LeBlanc into bright sunshine, leaving my sister to face the consequences of her actions. My phone is already buzzing with messages. No doubt the family grapevine's spreading the news. Let them talk. I'm done being the punchline of their jokes. Time to write my own story. The first headline breaks at 3 p.m. Rising finance star implicated in multi-million-dollar fraud. By 4 p.m., my phone has 37 missed calls. By 5 p.m., I'm sitting in my apartment watching my sister's perfect life unravel on live TV. A knock at my door makes me jump. Lindsay, it's Jaden. Please open up. I consider pretending I'm not home, but his voice carries that same raw edge I remember from childhood fights, when he was the only one who'd stand up for me. He looks exhausted when I open the door, his usually immaculate suit wrinkled. You could have warned me. Would you have believed me? Yes. His immediate response surprises us both. I've never trusted Talia. Not since we were kids, and she blamed you for breaking Grandma's vase. I let him in, watching as he takes in my apartment, the stack of evidence files, the half-empty wine glass, the news playing silently on my laptop. They're saying she's already gone, he says quietly. Private jet to somewhere without extradition. She won't get far. I pull up an email from Devon. The feds froze her accounts an hour ago. That's not what I came to talk about. Jaden sits heavily on my couch. Your parents are destroying themselves. Your mom. I've never seen her like this. The guilt I've been suppressing all day rises like bile. How bad? She collapsed when the reporter showed up. Your dad's with her at the hospital. Stress-induced panic attack. He meets my eyes. They're asking for you. To yell at me, disown me, tell me I've ruined the family name? To understand why their daughter didn't come to them first. The laugh that escapes me sounds bitter even to my own ears. When have they ever listened to me? Really listened, not just waited for their chance to tell me how I'm doing everything wrong? Maybe they're ready to listen now. My phone buzzes. Another news alert. They've found evidence linking Talia to 3 more fraudulent schemes. The amount stolen has doubled. My stomach churns as I read familiar names among the victims. Oh God. I sink onto the couch beside Jaden. Your startup money, I'm so sorry. Don't. He touches my hand gently. You didn't steal it. You tried to save it. But I waited too long. I knew something was wrong for weeks, but I kept doubting myself, thinking maybe I was just jealous like they always said. You exposed the truth. That's what matters. My laptop pings with an incoming email from Talia's personal account sent from an unknown location. My hands shake as I open it. Congratulations, sis. You finally grew a spine. But ask yourself, was it worth it? Mom's in the hospital, Dad's reputation is ruined, and our whole family is being torn apart. All because you couldn't handle being the disappointing daughter. Hope you're proud of yourself. Love, T. Jaden reads over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. Don't let her manipulate you. Not again. But what if she's right? What if I did this out of jealousy or revenge? Does it matter? He turns my chair to face him. The money she stole was real. The lives she ruined were real. Your motives don't change that. Another ping, this time from an unknown number. A video attachment. I click play before I can stop myself. It's security footage from LeBlanc. I watch myself confront Talia, but from this angle I can see something I missed in the moment. As I walk away, her mask completely shatters. For just a second, raw fear and something like regret cross her face. Then she pulls out her phone and makes a call, hands trembling. That was right before she tried to run. Jaden says softly. You did that. You made her face reality, maybe for the first time in her life. My doorbell rings before I can respond. Through the peephole, I see my father standing there, looking older than I've ever seen him. Lindsay, his voice cracks. Please, your mother's asking for you. Jaden squeezes my shoulder. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I look at the paused video, at my sister's moment of truth. Then at the door, behind which waits my chance to either heal or permanently break my family. Okay, I whisper, reaching for the handle. Let's see if they're really ready to listen. Because that's the thing about truth. Once it starts spilling out, you can't choose which parts people hear. You can only hope they're strong enough to handle all of it. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly, my heels clicking against sterile tiles. My father walks slightly ahead, shoulders hunched like he's carrying physical weight. We haven't spoken since leaving my apartment. What is there to say after decades of silence? Room 415. My mother looks small in the hospital bed, her perfect makeup finally stripped away. The machine's steady beeping feels like an accusation. Lindsay, her voice is hoarse. Come to see what you've done? I almost turn around, but Jaden's hand on my back keeps me moving forward. I came because you asked for me. Asked for you? She laughs weakly. I asked for my daughter. Not whatever you've become. I'm still your daughter. That's why I had to stop her. Stop her, my father finally speaks. You destroyed her. The police were at our house, Lindsay. Reporters. Our friends won't even take our calls. Because of what Talia did, not me. You could have handled it privately. My mother's fingers twist her blanket. Within the family. Instead, you chose to humiliate us all. Privately? The word tastes bitter. Like how you privately mocked my career, or privately set me up as the family joke. We were trying to protect you. My father's outburst startles us all. You were always so sensitive, so eager to please. Talia was stronger. Stronger? I pull out my phone, bringing up the evidence files. Look at these numbers. Really look. That's Aunt Marie's retirement fund. Empty. Derek's kids' college savings. Gone. Is that strength? They stare at the screen, reality finally cracking their denial. She said she was investing it. My mother's voice shrinks. She promised returns. She lied. She's been lying for years. And you let her, because it was easier than admitting your perfect daughter was a fraud. The machines beep in the silence that follows. Outside, a nurse pushes a cart past, wheels squeaking. Did you know, I say quietly, that she tried to set me up to take the fall? She invited me to lunch today to trick me into signing documents that would have made me legally responsible. My mother closes her eyes. My father sits heavily in the visitor's chair. We didn't, he starts. No, I finish. Or didn't want to know. My phone buzzes. Devin calling. I step into the hallway to answer. They found her. His voice is urgent. Talia, she's holed up at some luxury resort upstate. FBI's moving in tonight. My heart stutters. She'll run again. Not if someone she trusts convinces her to surrender first. Understanding hits. No, I can't. Lindsay, listen. If she runs now, that money's gone forever. But if she turns herself in, makes a deal, she won't listen to me. I'm the enemy now. You're her sister. His voice softens. And you're the only one she knows. She can't manipulate anymore. I look back through the doorway. My parents huddle together, looking lost and old and human. All their illusions shattered in a single day. Text me the address, I hear myself say. Back in the room, my mother reaches for my hand. I let her take it, feeling calluses beneath her expensive manicure. Where are you going? She asks. To finish this, the right way. Lindsay, my father stands. Whatever she did, she's still your sister. I know. I squeeze my mother's hand once before letting go. That's why I have to try one last time to save her. From herself, if nothing else. Jaden appears in the doorway. I'm driving. No. I straighten my blazer, check my phone's battery. I need to do this alone. Then I'll wait here. He looks at my parents. We all will. My mother's voice stops me at the door. Lindsay, I'm sorry for not seeing you. It's not enough. Not yet. But it's a start. I know, Mom. I manage a small smile. Maybe when this is over, we can all try seeing each other a little more clearly. The hospital corridor doesn't seem quite so long on the way out. My phone guides me upstate, where my sister waits with her stolen millions and broken dreams. One last confrontation. One last chance to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right. This time, maybe I can do both. The Lake Grove Resort looms against the darkening sky, all glass and modern angles. My rental car's GPS shows I beat the FBI by 30 minutes. Enough time for one last conversation between sisters. The front desk clerk barely glances at me. I've worn my best Talia impression like armor, all confident smile and entitled attitude. Room 842, your sister's expecting you. Of course she is. She's always been 3 steps ahead. The elevator rises smoothly, carrying me toward what feels like destiny. In my pocket, my phone vibrates with updates from Devin about FBI positions, contingency plans, worst-case scenarios. I silence it. This moment belongs to us alone. Talia opens the door before I knock. She's traded her designer clothes for yoga wear, but her makeup is still perfect. Always camera ready, even now. I wondered when you'd show up. She steps aside, letting me enter the luxurious suite. Drink? The minibar's excellent, though I suppose you're more concerned about who's paying for it. You know why I'm here. To gloat, she pours herself something amber and expensive. To see the mighty fallen? Or did they send you to talk me into surrendering? They don't know I'm here. That gets her attention. She studies me over her glass, really looks at me maybe for the first time in years. Then why are you? Because under all this, I gesture at the wealth surrounding us. You're still my little sister, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Don't. Her voice cracks slightly. Don't pretend this is about protecting me. You destroyed everything I built. You destroyed it yourself. I just exposed the truth. The truth? She laughs bitterly. The truth is I was never going to be enough for them either. Not really. Every achievement had to be bigger, more impressive. Every success needed to shine brighter than the last. So you started faking the shine. I made it real. Her glass slams down. The money was real. The influence was real. Everyone won. Investors got their returns. The firm grew, our family's status, until it all fell apart. I step closer. How long did you think you could keep juggling? Keep moving money around to hide the holes? Long enough to disappear. She moves to the window, staring out at the gathering darkness. I had it all planned. New identity, new life. I was even going to send money back once I was safe. Make everyone whole again. You really believe that? I had to believe something. Her composure finally shatters. Do you know what it's like, being their perfect child? The golden daughter who can't make mistakes? Who has to succeed no matter what? Actually, I do. I touch her shoulder gently. I watched you carry that weight our whole lives. But Talia, you don't have to anymore. She shrugs off my hand. Easy for you to say. You're the hero now. The whistleblower who exposed the corrupt sister. I'm not a hero. I'm just finally being honest. About you, about them, about myself. I check my phone. 15 minutes left. And now I'm being honest about this. They're coming for you. Soon. Her spine stiffens. I can still run. To where? Another hotel? Another identity? Always looking over your shoulder, never trusting anyone? I move between her and the door. Or you can face this. Make it right. Show them. Show everyone who you really are under all the perfect masks. It's too late. It's not. Not if you choose to stop running. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Talia's hands shake as she sets down her glass. They'll hate me, she whispers. Maybe, for a while, but we're family. Real family, not the perfect image we pretended to be. I hold out my hand. Let me help you through this. Like I should have helped you before it went this far. She stares at my offered hand. The sirens are very close now. Red and blue lights begin to flash against the windows. I'm scared, she admits, sounding young and vulnerable. I know. Me too. I keep my hand steady. But we can be scared together. For a moment, I think she'll run. I see the impulse flash across her face. Then slowly, she reaches out and takes my hand. Okay, she whispers. Okay. We stand together as footsteps thunder down the hall. In the last seconds before they breach the door, Talia squeezes my hand. I'm sorry, she says, for everything. I know, I squeeze back. Me too. The door bursts open, flooding the room with light and noise. But we don't let go. Not this time. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending to be strong. Sometimes the truest victory is admitting you've lost. And sometimes, just sometimes, sisters can save each other by finally being real. The courtroom feels smaller than I expected. No dramatic high ceilings or imposing architecture, just a plain room where lives change forever. Talia sits at the defendant's table, wearing a simple black dress instead of her usual designer armor. She looks young, vulnerable, real. I'm not supposed to be here for the sentencing. Family members usually wait outside. But when Talia asked me to stay, her lawyer didn't object. Maybe he saw something in our matching stubborn chins, our mirrored way of squaring our shoulders against bad news. The judge shuffles papers, peers over reading glasses. Before pronouncing sentence, does the defendant wish to make a statement? Talia stands. Her hands shake slightly as she unfolds a paper, then stops. Puts it down, looks directly at the victim's section where our family sits. I prepared a speech, she says, about remorse and redemption and making amends. But that would be another performance, wouldn't it? Another perfect role to play. She takes a deep breath. The truth is uglier. I stole from people who trusted me because I was terrified of being ordinary, of disappointing everyone who expected miracles. I hurt people I love because I couldn't admit I was drowning in those expectations. Our mother makes a small sound. I resist the urge to turn around. I can't undo what I did, Talia continues, but I can stop pretending. Stop hiding behind fake success and start doing the hard work of being real. Even if real means being flawed, being wrong, being... Her voice cracks slightly. Being someone who needs help sometimes. The judge nods slowly, pronounces the sentence, 8 years, possibility of parole in 5 with restitution. Less than expected, more than hoped. I watch my sister absorb the news without flinching. Outside, autumn's sun bathes the courthouse steps in golden light. Our parents hover uncertainly until Talia waves them over. Their hug is awkward but genuine. I'll visit, our mother promises, every week. Maybe. Talia glances at me. Maybe we can all visit, together? I'd like that, I say, surprising myself by meaning it. The bailiffs appear to take her away, but before they can, Talia pulls me aside. There's something you need to know, she whispers. Check the hidden folder on my laptop. Password is Thunder Sisters. Remember from when we were kids? There's proof about Marcus. He wasn't just my partner in the firm. My breath catches. He was behind it all? Not all, but enough that he shouldn't get away clean while I take the fall. She smiles grimly. Consider it my last gift as the family overachiever. The bailiffs step closer. Talia straightens her shoulders. Take care of them, she says. And yourself. Especially yourself. I watch them lead her away. This stranger who's somehow both my sister and not my sister anymore. My phone buzzes. Devin, probably with news about the Marcus investigation. But that can wait. Coffee? I ask my parents. I know a place nearby. The cafe is small, nothing like my mother's usual spots. But she doesn't comment on the mismatched mugs or the barista's tattoos. Instead, she asks about my work. Actually asks, not just waits to criticize. I'm proud of you, my father says suddenly, for doing the right thing, even when it hurt. Even when it hurt us, my mother adds quietly. I haven't been fair to you, either of you. No, I agree. But maybe we can all learn to do better. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Jaden. Heard about the sentence, you okay? I look at my parents, really look at them. See the gray in my father's hair, the worry lines around my mother's eyes. See them seeing me. Maybe for the first time. Yes, I text back. I think I am. Because here's the truth about family. Sometimes love means letting the perfect facade crack. Sometimes strength means admitting weakness. And sometimes the biggest joke is thinking we had to pretend to be flawless in the first place. I take another sip of coffee, letting the bitter warmth ground me in this moment. Tomorrow I'll check Talia's laptop, start unraveling Marcus's web, face whatever new challenges come. But right now, in this imperfect cafe with my imperfect family, I'm exactly where I need to be. No masks, no pretense, just us, finally learning to see each other clearly. And maybe that's the best promotion of all.
I always thought I'd feel beautiful on my wedding day. Instead, I feel like I'm burning alive in $3,000 worth of white satin and lace. You okay? Emma squeezes my hand as we stand just outside the reception hall doors. The string quartet inside has just finished tuning up. Just need a minute. I force a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. My makeup artist spent 90 minutes making me look effortlessly radiant, but my reflection in the mirrored wall shows a woman I barely recognize. Emma adjusts my veil, her eyes searching mine. Noelle, talk to me. Is this just normal wedding jitters or... I'm fine. The lie comes easily. I've been telling it to myself for weeks. The doors swing open and 100 faces turn toward me. Alfred stands at the front of the room, tall and impossibly handsome in his tuxedo. His smile is brilliant, practiced, the same one he uses to charm juries. My stomach twists. I scan the crowd as I walk in, nodding at colleagues, distant relatives, and Alfred's law partners. My mother sits rigidly in the front row, her approval as conditional as always. Bryant, my mentor, gives me a subtle thumbs up from his table. And then there's Violet, my sister, standing by the champagne fountain, looking everywhere but at me. The quartet begins playing as I make my entrance. Alfred extends his hand as I approach. His fingers are warm when they close around mine, but I feel nothing. Just hours ago, I found a text on his phone while he was in the shower. Not the first suspicious message I'd glimpsed, but the most damning. "You look stunning," he whispers. And for a second, I almost believe he means it. The officiant begins, and I go through the motions. My voice sounds distant to my own ears as I repeat words about honor and cherishing. Alfred's vows are eloquent, of course. He's always been good with words, too good. If anyone can show just cause why this couple cannot lawfully be joined together in matrimony, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. The traditional pause, a few awkward chuckles from the crowd, and then, "I have something to say." The voice cuts through the room like a blade. Conversations stop. Glasses freeze midway to lips. I don't need to turn to know it's Violet. "I'm sorry, Noelle." My sister's voice wavers. "I can't let you do this." The room tilts slightly. Alfred's hand tightens around mine, his fingernails digging into my palm. "Violet, this isn't the time," my mother hisses, half rising from her seat. But Violet continues, each word striking like a physical blow. "Alfred and I have been sleeping together for the past 8 months. The collective gasp seems to suck all the oxygen from the room. I turn slowly, feeling as though I'm moving underwater. Violet stands there in her maid of honor dress, the one I spent weeks helping her choose, her face flushed, eyes glassy with tears that look almost genuine. "It started as just one night," she continues, her voice growing stronger. "But it became more. I'm in love with him, Noelle, and he loves me too." I look back at Alfred, whose face has drained of color, not from shock, from being caught. The calculation is already happening behind his eyes. I can see it, having witnessed it in the courtroom. He's measuring responses, weighing options. "Noelle," he starts, his tone placating, the same tone he uses with difficult clients. "This isn't..." She's confused. 8 months, I repeat, my voice surprisingly steady. That would be right after our engagement party, wouldn't it? Alfred blinks, thrown by my calmness. She's making this up. You know how Violet gets always wanting attention. The text I saw this morning, I continue, the one that said, after today, we won't have to hide anymore. That wasn't from a client, was it? The room is so quiet I can hear the ice melting in abandoned drinks. My mother's face is a mask of horror. Emma has moved closer, ready to catch me if I fall. But I won't fall, not here. Did you think I wouldn't find out? I ask, loud enough for everyone to hear. Or did you just not care? Alfred reaches for my arm. Let's discuss this privately. I step back, out of his reach. There's nothing to discuss. I turn to face our guests, these people who came to celebrate our love. Some look horrified, others embarrassed. A few, Alfred's friends, almost amused. I remove my engagement ring, the 3-carat diamond catching the light one last time. Thank you all for coming, I say, my voice clear and controlled. Unfortunately, there won't be a wedding today. I place the ring in Alfred's palm, closing his fingers around it. His expression shifts from damage control to genuine alarm. He hadn't expected this version of me. Noelle, don't. I cut him off with a single look. Then I turn to Violet, who's watching with wide eyes, like she's surprised by the consequences of her own actions. Thank you, I tell her, and confusion flickers across her face. Thank you for the confirmation. I walk back down the aisle alone, head high, the weight of 100 stairs on my back. The heavy doors close behind me with a decisive thud, and only then do I allow myself a single shuddering breath. The dress that took 6 months to perfect now feels like a costume I can't wait to shed. The hotel room ceiling has a small water stain in the corner. I've been staring at it for hours, watching how it changes shape in the shifting darkness. 3 in the morning, and sleep feels like a distant memory. I kick off the suffocating duvet and sit up. My wedding dress is crumpled in the corner where I left it, a white ghost haunting the room. I should have burned it. My phone lights up for the 47th time tonight. Alfred again. I don't need to read the message to know what it says. They've all followed the same pattern. Denial, then anger, then desperate pleas for me to answer him so he can explain. What is there to explain about sleeping with my sister? I scroll through older messages instead, hunting for clues I missed. There are hundreds between us, daily check-ins, dinner plans, sweet nothings, lies, all of them. But something catches my eye, a text from 3 months ago. Can't make dinner tonight. Emergency client meeting. Don't wait up. I remember that night. I'd called his office when he didn't answer my texts, and his secretary said he'd left early. I'd brushed it off, trusting him completely. That same night, Violet had canceled our weekly sister lunch for the following day. A terrible migraine, she'd claimed. My fingers move before my brain catches up, dialing Emma's number despite the hour. I'm awake, she answers immediately. Are you okay? I need you to tell me something, I say, my voice hoarse. That weekend we went to the coast 3 months ago. Did Violet say anything about where she was the night before? Emma hesitates. She mentioned meeting friends for drinks. Why? Which friends? She didn't say. Noelle, what's going on? I close my eyes. I think it's been happening longer than 8 months. The silence on the other end confirms my suspicion that Emma had the same thought. I'm coming over, she says finally. No, I need to be alone tonight. I pause. But tomorrow, I need your help with something. Brian's office has always been my sanctuary. The smell of old books and coffee, the view of the city skyline, the quiet confidence of a space where I've grown from nervous intern to partner-track architect. You should take some time off, he says, leaning against his desk. His eyes are kind but concerned. No one would blame you. I'd blame me. I straighten the models on his shelf, needing to fix something, anything. Work is the only thing that makes sense right now. Bryant sighs. Noelle, I hired someone, I blurt out. A private investigator. His eyebrows shoot up. To what end? I need to know everything. My voice doesn't waver. How long it's been happening? If there were others, I need facts, not just Violet's version. And then what? Bryant asks gently. I don't have an answer. Not one I'm ready to say out loud. My phone buzzes. A text from the PI I hired this morning. Found something? Meeting in 20? The cafe is busy enough that our conversation won't be overheard. The investigator, a woman named Jess, with shrewd eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, slides a folder across the table. That was fast, I say. Some things are easy to find if you know where to look. She taps the folder. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, phone records. They weren't exactly careful. My hands shake as I open it. The first page is a credit card statement. Alfred's. Multiple charges at a hotel downtown, dating back nearly a year. The same hotel every few weeks. A year, I whisper. They've been doing this for a year. Jess nods. There's more. Your sister's social media has them in the same locations too many times to be coincidental. Different cities even. They took a weekend trip to Chicago 3 months ago. The coast trip, the migraine, the client emergency. It all clicks into place. That's not all, Jess continues, her voice softening slightly. There are text messages. I managed to recover some deleted ones from the cloud backup. I flip to the next page and immediately wish I hadn't. The messages between them are explicit, intimate, plans and promises, discussions about their future. After I was out of the picture, soon we won't have to hide, Alfred had written. Just a few more months until the wedding and the prenup is signed. Then we'll have everything we need. The prenup. The one that would have given Alfred access to my trust fund if we stayed married for at least a year. The inheritance my grandfather left specifically to me, not Violet. This wasn't just an affair. It was a con. My phone rings, Violet's name flashing on the screen. For the first time since yesterday, I answer. Noelle, thank God, she breathes. I've been so worried. Can we talk? Please, I need to explain. Where are you right now? I ask, my voice eerily calm. At Mom's, she's not happy with me. I bet she isn't. I close the folder, my decision made. Tell me something, Violet. Was it worth it? What? Was destroying me worth whatever he promised you? She starts to cry, those familiar tears that have gotten her out of trouble our entire lives. It wasn't like that. I fell in love. You fell in love with my fiancé and my money, I cut in. That's quite a coincidence. Her crying stops abruptly. What are you talking about? I know about the prenup, Violet. I know about Chicago. I know everything. The silence stretches between us. This isn't over, I say finally, not by a long shot. I hang up and look at Jess, who's watching me with something like respect. What's next? She asks. I take a deep breath. Everything. I want to know everything. 3 days after my wedding that wasn't, I sit cross-legged on my living room floor surrounded by evidence of my former life's implosion. Jess has been thorough. Hotel receipts, photos, text message logs, and location data spread around me like the world's most depressing puzzle. I pick up a photo of Alfred and Violet at a restaurant in Chicago, his hand on hers, both smiling like they'd invented happiness. The timestamp matches our coast trip perfectly. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. You still alive in there? I haven't left my apartment since meeting with Jess. Haven't showered today either, if I'm being honest. Barely, coming up for air soon. Good, Bryant called. He's worried. I set down my phone without responding. Bryant's concern feels like one more responsibility I can't handle right now. The evidence tells a story I'm still struggling to accept. Alfred and Violet's affair began just weeks after he proposed, not after the engagement party, as she claimed at the wedding. Their Chicago trip wasn't the only one. They'd been to New York twice, once, while I was at a conference in Seattle. The prenup Alfred had insisted upon, just to protect us both, had been carefully designed to give him access to my inheritance after a year of marriage. And Violet, my little sister, the girl I'd protected from bullies, helped through college, defended to our mother countless times. She'd been planning to move in with him after I signed those papers. My doorbell rings, startling me. Through the peephole, I see Alfred, looking haggard in rumpled clothes. "I know you're in there, Noelle," he calls through the door. "We need to talk." My heart hammers against my ribs. I press my back against the wall, willing him to leave. "I'm not going anywhere until you open this door," he continues, his lawyer voice slipping into place. "The neighbors are starting to notice." That calculated manipulation, using my concern for appearances against me, ignites something molten in my chest. I swing the door open. Alfred's eyes widen at my appearance. Unwashed hair, sweatpants, dark circles under my eyes. Good. Let him see what he's done. "You have 30 seconds, I say. He pushes past me into the apartment before I can stop him, then freezes when he sees the evidence spread across my floor. "What is all this?" His voice has lost its confidence. "Your life, Alfred, or at least the parts you tried to hide." He picks up a hotel receipt, his face paling. "You had me investigated? That's invasive, unethical, funny coming from the man who was sleeping with my sister while planning to steal my inheritance." Alfred's expression shifts, the mask slipping to reveal something calculating beneath. "It wasn't like that." "No? Then explain the prenup. Explain why you needed access to my trust fund after 1 year of marriage." "That was standard protection." "For whom?" I step closer. "The prenup my lawyer drafted protected both of us. The one you insisted on replacing it with protected you. Only you." He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture I once found endearing. Now I see it for what it is, a practiced move to appear vulnerable. "I made a mistake with Violet," he says, voice softening. "A terrible mistake, but I love you, Noelle. I've always loved you." Something breaks loose inside me, a laugh so bitter it scrapes my throat. "You've never loved anyone but yourself. That's not fair." "Fair?" I grabbed the Chicago photo and thrust it at him. "Was this fair? This was the weekend I was with Emma, grieving the anniversary of my father's death. You knew that. You knew what that weekend meant to me." His silence is damning. "Get out," I whisper. "Noelle, get out," I scream, my voice cracking. "Before I call the police and tell them how you tried to defraud me." That gets his attention. Alfred straightens, lawyer mode fully engaged. "You have no proof of intent to defraud." I gesture to the floor. "I have enough to make your life very uncomfortable. Your firm doesn't like scandals, does it? Especially ones involving senior associates and inheritance schemes." His jaw tightens. "This isn't over." "Actually, it is." I open the door. "And Alfred, tell Violet I know about the necklace too." His eyes flicker with confusion, then alarm. "I don't have any information about a necklace. It was a shot in the dark." But his reaction tells me there's something there, something I need to find. After he leaves, I collapse onto the couch, adrenaline draining away. My phone rings. "Bryant again?" This time I answer. "I'm alive," I say before he can speak. "Glad to hear it." His voice is warm with relief. "Listen, I need to tell you something. Alfred came by the office yesterday." I sit up straight. "What? Why?" "He wanted to know if you'd been in contact with any of our clients, specifically the Westmore development." "The Westmore development. My biggest project. The one that could make my career. He claimed that as your fiancé, he was concerned about your mental state affecting the project. Bryant continues. I showed him the door, but Noel, he's trying to undermine you professionally. Cold clarity washes over me. This isn't just about my heart or my money anymore. Alfred is trying to destroy everything I've built. I'll be in tomorrow, I tell Bryant, already gathering the evidence into a folder. You sure you're ready? I look around my apartment at the shrine to betrayal I've been building. I can't hide forever, and I need to find out what this necklace is about. What necklace? I don't know yet, I admit, but I think it might be the key to understanding why Violet really did this. The Westmore presentation boards gleam under the conference room lights. I've spent the last 3 days rebuilding myself through work, showered, dressed in my sharpest suit, armed with coffee and determination. If Alfred wants to question my professional competence, I'll answer with excellence. They're going to love this, Bryant says, examining my revised designs. The sustainability elements are inspired. Thanks. I straighten papers that don't need straightening. Any word on who's representing the Westmores today? Bryant hesitates. Their regular counsel and Alfred. My hands freeze. What? He's claiming the Westmores specifically requested him. I tried to have him removed, but it's fine. I cut him off, though it's anything but fine. I can handle Alfred. Bryant studies me. You don't have to do this today. Yes, I do. I check my reflection in the glass wall. He's trying to rattle me. I won't give him the satisfaction. The conference room door opens, and the Westmores enter, Robert and his daughter Melissa, followed by their financial advisor. And then Alfred, looking immaculate in a suit I helped him choose last Christmas. Our eyes meet. His hold a warning, mine a promise. Noel? Robert Westmore embraces me warmly. Bryant tells me you've been working miracles with our project. Just doing my job, I smile, ignoring Alfred completely. Shall we begin? The presentation flows smoothly. I walk them through the redesigned community space, the green energy implementations, the cost-saving measures that don't sacrifice quality. I'm in my element, confident and clear. Then Alfred clears his throat. I have some concerns about the timeline. I keep my expression neutral. The timeline is aggressive but achievable. Given recent events, he continues, eyes fixed on me, I wonder if the firm can guarantee consistent project management. There it is, the attack I anticipated. If you're referring to my personal life, Alfred, I say, my voice steady, I assure you it has no bearing on my professional commitments. I'm simply concerned about emotional stability. A valid concern, I interrupt, turning to the Westmores, which is why I've implemented additional oversight protocols and brought in Tara from our sustainability team as support. You'll find the details on page 12 of your packets. Alfred blinks, caught off guard by my preparation. Melissa Westmore flips to the page. This is impressive, Noel. You've thought of everything. Not everything, Alfred mutters. Robert Westmore frowns. Is there something specific troubling you, Alfred? Because from where I sit, Noel has addressed all our concerns thoroughly. Alfred forces a smile. Just doing my due diligence. The meeting concludes with handshakes and approvals. As everyone files out, Alfred lingers. Clever move, he says once we're alone. But this isn't over. It was over the moment Violet opened her mouth at our wedding, I reply. Now it's just cleanup. His eyes narrow. Speaking of Violet, she's quite upset about your accusation. What accusation? About the necklace. She says she doesn't know what you're talking about. I maintain my poker face. Interesting that she's so upset about something she knows nothing about. Alfred steps closer. Whatever you think you know, I know enough. I gather my materials. and I'm learning more every day. His expression hardens. Be careful, Noel. You might not like what you find. The threat hangs in the air as he leaves. Only when the door closes do I allow myself a shaky breath. You bluffed? Emma laughs, pouring more wine into my glass. We're at her apartment, safely away from any memories of Alfred or Violet. That's brilliant. It was a guess, I admit, but his reaction told me everything. There's something about a necklace that matters to them both. Emma's smile fades. Do you think it could be your grandmother's emerald? The one your mom gave you for the wedding? My stomach drops. The emerald necklace, a family heirloom meant to be worn by Henderson women on their wedding days. My mother had presented it to me with rare emotion, a moment of connection between us. I never even wore it, I whisper. It was in my jewelry box for the ceremony. Emma sets down her glass. When did you last see it? I close my eyes, thinking. The rehearsal dinner. I showed it to Violet when she came to my room to borrow earrings. And after the wedding chaos? I haven't checked. My hands begin to shake. You don't think... Emma's expression is grim. Call your mother. The conversation with my mother is brief and painful. Yes, the necklace is missing. No, she hasn't seen it since giving it to me. Yes, she's furious about the wedding disaster. No, she doesn't want to discuss Violet's behavior. After hanging up, I stare at my phone. If they stole my grandmother's necklace, then this wasn't just about the trust fund. Emma finishes. It was about hurting you completely. My phone pings with a text from Jess. Found something on V's friend Daria. You'll want to see this. Attached is a photo of Daria and Violet at a cafe, huddled in conversation. The timestamp is 2 days ago, but what catches my eye is the glint of green at Violet's throat, partially hidden by her scarf. My grandmother's emerald. I need to talk to Daria, I say, showing Emma the photo. Violet's best friend? She'll never betray her. Maybe not. I finish my wine. But Daria and I were friends once too, before Violet claimed her. And unlike my sister, Daria has a conscience. I send a text to Daria. We need to talk about the necklace Violet's wearing. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe. Come alone. The response is immediate. How did you know? I don't answer. Let her worry overnight about what I know and what I don't. Tomorrow, I'll start getting real answers. Riverside Cafe bustles with morning customers. But I spot Daria immediately. She's hunched over her coffee, eyes darting nervously toward the door. When she sees me, her face pales. I slide into the seat across from her, setting my phone face up on the table, recording app ready. Thank you for coming, I say, keeping my voice neutral. Daria's fingers twist around her cup. I almost didn't. But you did. That says something. She looks thinner than I remember, dark circles under her eyes. Violet's friendship has always come with a cost. I don't know what you think I can tell you, she begins. I pull out the photo and place it between us. You can start by explaining why my sister is wearing my grandmother's emerald necklace. Daria stares at the picture, then closes her eyes briefly. I told her not to wear it in public, so you knew she took it. Not initially. Daria's voice drops. She showed up at my place after your wedding, or non-wedding, wearing it under her dress. Said it was a gift from your mother. My mother would never give Violet that necklace. The certainty in my voice makes Daria flinch. It's been passed to the eldest daughter for generations. That's what I thought, but Violet was convincing. I lean forward. What else has she convinced you of, Daria? She looks away. I don't want to be in the middle of this. You already are. I keep my voice gentle but firm. How long have you known about her and Alfred? Since Christmas. She meets my eyes finally. I saw them together at the mall when they were supposedly shopping separately for your gifts. They didn't see me. 6 months. While I was planning my wedding, my friend knew my sister and fiancé were betraying me. Why didn't you tell me? Daria's eyes fill with tears. Violet said it was just physical, that it would end before the wedding. Then she said Alfred was leaving you anyway, that you were too focused on your career to make him happy. Each word is a fresh cut. I take a steadying breath. And the trust fund? The prenup? Daria looks genuinely confused. What prenup? I explain briefly about Alfred's financial scheme. Daria's expression shifts from confusion to horror. I didn't know about any of that, she whispers. Violet never mentioned money. What did she mention? Daria hesitates. She said it was finally her turn to be the favorite. The words hit me like a physical blow. Her turn? She's always felt second best. To you, the successful daughter, the one your mother respects, the one who got the family heirlooms and the trust fund from your grandfather. That's not... I stop myself. Isn't it true? Our mother has always been harder on Violet, comparing her unfavorably to me. And our grandfather did leave his money only to me, saying Violet was too irresponsible. That doesn't justify what she did, I say finally. No, Daria agrees. It doesn't. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a small velvet pouch. I took this from her yesterday, told her I needed to borrow it for a date. My grandmother's emerald necklace spills into my palm, the green stone catching the light. My throat tightens. Why are you giving this to me? Daria looks miserable. Because I should have told you at Christmas, because what they're doing is wrong. As I'm processing this, the cafe door opens. Violet walks in, freezing when she sees us together. Her eyes lock on the necklace in my hand. You bitch, she hisses at Daria. You said you needed it for a date. Daria stands, gathering her things. I'm sorry, Violet. I can't do this anymore. She squeezes my shoulder before hurrying out, leaving me alone with my sister. Violet slides into the vacant seat, her initial shock hardening into defiance. So now you're turning my friends against me too? I didn't have to turn anyone. Your actions did that. She scoffs. Always so self-righteous. Poor Noelle, the perfect victim. Why did you take this? I hold up the necklace. It wasn't enough to take Alfred? Something flickers across her face. Pain, maybe even shame, before the mask returns. Mom should have given it to me. She only gave it to you because you're the responsible one. So you stole it. I borrowed it, like you borrowed my fiancé. The words come out sharper than intended. Violet leans forward. Alfred and I love each other. That part wasn't a lie. And the prenup, the plan to access my trust fund, was that love too? Her expression falters. What are you talking about? For a moment, I almost believe her confusion is genuine, but I've seen the evidence. Stop lying, Violet. I know everything. Clearly you don't, she snaps. Alfred never mentioned any trust fund to me. A cold feeling spreads through my chest. Then why? Because I was tired of being second place. Her voice rises, drawing glances from nearby tables. My entire life, it's been, why can't you be more like Noelle? Do you have any idea what that's like? So you destroyed my wedding to get back at me? I struggle to keep my voice steady. How does that make you first place in anything? Violet's eyes fill with tears that, for once, seem real. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. I was drunk, emotional. Alfred said we should wait until after. She stops abruptly. After what? I press. Nothing. She stands, grabbing her purse. Keep the stupid necklace. It doesn't matter anymore. As she turns to leave, I catch her wrist. Violet, if Alfred was using you too. He loves me, she insists, but uncertainty clouds her eyes. He's going to prove it. How? She pulls away. You'll see, we both will. After she leaves, I sit motionless, the necklace heavy in my hand. My phone buzzes with a text from Jess. Found something in A's email. Meeting tonight? I reply immediately, yes, and bring everything you have on my mother's finances. The pieces are starting to fit together, forming a picture I never expected, one where Violet might be as much a victim as I am. Your mother is broke. Jess slides financial statements across my kitchen table, or she will be very soon. I stare at the documents, trying to make sense of them. Bank accounts nearly empty. Credit cards maxed out. A second mortgage on the family home I grew up in. That's impossible, I say. My mother is obsessively careful with money. Was, Jess corrects. Something changed about 18 months ago. Large withdrawals, luxury purchases, a trip to Monaco. Monaco? My mother, who considers a weekend in the Hamptons an extravagance? Could someone have stolen her identity? Jess shakes her head. The purchases were made in person. Credit card receipts have her signature. I flip through the statements again, noticing a recurring charge. What's Horizon Partners? Investment firm. Very exclusive. Jess pulls up information on her tablet. Minimum buy-in of $200,000. The amount matches a withdrawal from my mother's retirement account. And look who's on their client relations team. Jess turns the tablet toward me. Alfred's face smiles back at me from the company website. I don't understand, I whisper. Alfred is a corporate lawyer. He doesn't work in investments. According to my sources, he doesn't work for Horizon officially. He refers select clients for a commission. My mind races. Alfred met my mother through me 3 years ago. He proposed a year and a half ago, right when these financial changes began. He's been playing a longer game than I realized, I say, feeling sick. But why involve Violet? Insurance, maybe. Jess gathers the papers. Or just keeping it in the family. I think of Violet's confusion about the trust fund, her insistence that Alfred loves her. What if she's telling the truth about not knowing his financial motives? I need to talk to my mother. My childhood home looks smaller somehow, the garden less immaculate than I remember. My mother opens the door before I can knock, her expression guarded. This is unexpected, she says, not moving to let me in. We need to talk. I hold up the financial documents. About Horizon Partners. Her face pales. She glances at the neighbor's house, then pulls me inside. The living room is the same as always, formal, impeccable, unlived in. But there are subtle changes. The silver candlesticks missing from the mantel. The space where a small painting once hung. Where did you get those? She demands, nodding at the papers in my hand. That's not important. What matters is that Alfred has been stealing from you. She laughs, a brittle sound. Don't be ridiculous. Alfred helped me invest my money. In a scheme. Mom, Horizon Partners isn't legitimate. They take your money and… Stop. Her voice is sharp. I know exactly what I invested in. The returns have been exceptional. Have you actually received any returns, or just statements showing growth? Her hesitation tells me everything. Mom, I say gently, when was the last time you tried to withdraw money from this investment? She sits down heavily. They require a 12-month commitment, which conveniently would have ended right after my wedding. I sit beside her, after I signed Alfred's prenup giving him access to my trust fund. That's absurd. Alfred wouldn't… She stops, uncertainty crossing her face. He and Violet are both involved, yes, though I'm starting to think Violet doesn't know the full extent of it. My mother's composure cracks. I've lost everything, haven't I? The vulnerability in her voice strikes me. I've never seen her like this, scared, diminished. Not everything, I say. We can fight this. But I need to know when Alfred first approached you about investing. She tells me everything, how Alfred had mentioned exclusive investment opportunities, how he'd shown her fabricated success stories, how he'd made her feel special for being included. "I was trying to secure our future," she says. "Your father never left us with much security." The mention of my father, who died believing he'd provided well for us, stings. "Did Violet know about your investments?" My mother nods slowly. "Alfred brought her to one of the meetings, said it would be good for her to learn about finance." "And she never mentioned it to me?" "I asked them not to. I wanted to surprise you with the returns." Her laugh is hollow. "I was a fool." As we talk, pieces click into place. Alfred cultivated relationships with both my mother and sister, using each relationship to strengthen his position. The prenup was the final piece, access to the one fortune he couldn't touch otherwise. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. 911. "Violet just called me crying. She's at Alfred's apartment and needs help. Says he's showing his true colors." Cold dread washes over me. I have to go. Violet's in trouble. My mother grabs my arm. "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done from the beginning. Protect my sister." "After what she did to you?" Disbelief colors her voice. "She's still my sister." I head for the door, and Alfred has been manipulating all of us. "Noelle," my mother calls after me. "Be careful. Men like Alfred, they don't like losing." Outside, I call Emma. "I'm on my way to Alfred's. Call Bryant and tell him what's happening." "Shouldn't we call the police?" I think of Alfred's connections, his ability to charm and manipulate. "Not yet. First, I need to get Violet out of there." As I drive, another text comes through, from Violet this time. "I'm sorry. You were right about everything. He wants the necklace back, says it's worth more than I know." The emerald necklace, still in my purse from this morning. What did Alfred say? "You might not like what you find." I press the accelerator harder. Whatever game Alfred is playing, it ends tonight. Alfred's luxury apartment building gleams like a fortress of glass and steel. The doorman recognizes me, his eyes widening slightly. "Ms. Harper, I thought—" "I'm expected," I lie, striding past him. In the elevator, I check my phone. No new messages from Violet. Emma is 20 minutes away. Bryant hasn't responded. My fingers close around the velvet pouch in my purse, the emerald necklace suddenly heavy with significance. The elevator opens directly into Alfred's penthouse. The space is immaculate as always. Minimalist furniture, strategic lighting, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. No sign of disturbance. No sign of Violet. "Hello?" My voice echoes in the open space. Alfred emerges from his home office, tumbler of whiskey in hand. He looks unsurprised to see me. "Noelle, what an unexpected pleasure." His tone is smooth, controlled. "Where's Violet?" He takes a deliberate sip. "Not here." Cold fear grips me. "She texted me, said she was with you." "Did she?" He sets down his glass. Phones can be so unreliable. I pull out my phone, showing him Violet's message. "Stop playing games. Where is my sister?" Alfred studies the text, then smiles. "Ah, she was here earlier. We had a disagreement. She left." "Without her phone?" I step closer. "What did you do to her?" "Always so dramatic." He sighs. "I simply explained some financial realities she wasn't prepared to accept. Like how you've been scamming my mother?" His expression flickers, surprise, quickly masked. "I've helped your mother make sound investments." "In a fake company with non-existent returns?" I move toward the windows, keeping distance between us. "The game is over, Alfred. I know everything." He laughs, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "You always think you know everything. That's your problem, Noelle. So convinced of your own superiority. This isn't about me. It's about what you've done to my family." "Your family?" His voice hardens. The mother who values status over happiness? The sister who's been jealous of you her entire life? They were easy to convince, Noelle, because deep down, they wanted to believe they deserved more than you gave them. Each word lands like a blow, but I hold my ground. Where is Violet's phone? He gestures vaguely toward his office. Probably in there. She was quite upset when she left. I move toward the office, keeping my eyes on him. The door is ajar, desk lamp casting shadows across the room. Violet's phone lies on the desk beside. I freeze. Beside it is a jeweler's loop and a document titled Emerald Authentication. Curious about the necklace? Alfred appears in the doorway behind me. It's quite a remarkable piece, much more valuable than your family realizes. I turn slowly. What are you talking about? The emerald. He steps into the room. Colombian, exceptional clarity, over 15 carats, conservatively worth $500,000, more with its historical provenance. My mind races. My grandmother's necklace is a family heirloom, not some priceless gem. Your grandmother's? He laughs. That necklace dates back to the 1850s. It belonged to a Spanish countess before making its way to America. Your family probably has no idea of its true origin or value. The pieces click together. That's why you wanted me to wear it at the wedding. You were going to steal it. Not steal, simply relocate. His smile is cold. I have a buyer who's been looking for exactly such a piece. No questions asked. And when I didn't wear it to the wedding, Violet proved useful after all. He shrugs. She took it without prompting, a gift from the universe. Disgust rises in my throat. Did you ever care about either of us? Business is business, Noelle. He steps closer. Now, I believe you have something that belongs to me. The necklace doesn't belong to you. Neither does your grandfather's trust fund, but that didn't stop you from hoarding it. His voice turns silky. You never planned to share with Violet, did you? Even knowing how your mother always favored you? I won't let him manipulate me. Where is Violet now? Safe, probably crying to one of her friends. He holds out his hand. The necklace, Noelle. And if I don't give it to you? His expression hardens. Then things become unpleasant for everyone. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. It's Daria. Violet is with me. She's scared. Alfred threatened her. Relief floods through me, followed by clarity. I need to keep Alfred talking until Emma arrives. You know what I don't understand? I move toward the window, putting the desk between us. Why the elaborate scheme? Why not just steal the necklace? Because I'm not a thief, he says, affronted. I'm an opportunist. The trust fund was the primary goal. The necklace was a bonus. And my mother's investments? Seed money, establishing credibility. He smiles. Your mother was surprisingly easy to convince, so eager to prove her financial acumen. You destroyed her retirement for seed money? Anger burns through me. Collateral damage, he shrugs. Now enough stalling. The necklace. I reach into my purse, fingers closing around the velvet pouch. You know what the worst part is, Alfred? I actually loved you. And I appreciated that about you. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Love makes people so wonderfully compliant. The elevator chimes in the living room. Alfred's head turns slightly at the sound. In that moment of distraction, I press send on the voice recording app that's been running since I entered the apartment, forwarding the file to Emma, Bryant, and Jess. Alfred's eyes narrow as he turns back. What did you just do? I hold up my phone, showing him the sent confirmation. Business is business, Alfred. The fury that crosses his face is terrifying. He lunges across the desk, grabbing for my wrist. Give me that phone! I sidestep, but he catches my arm, fingers digging painfully into my skin. We struggle, his strength overwhelming mine. Let her go. Emma's voice cuts through the room. She stands in the doorway, Bryant beside her, both of their phones held up, recording. Alfred freezes, calculation passing across his face. He releases me with a shove that sends me stumbling backward. "This proves nothing," he says, straightening his shirt. "It's your word against mine." "Actually," Bryant steps forward, "it's your words against you. That confession about defrauding Reese Henderson? Very compelling evidence." Alfred's face drains of color as he realizes the extent of what I've recorded. "You won't get away with this," he hisses at me. I pull the emerald necklace from my purse, holding it up to the light. "I already have. The police station smells like industrial cleaner and bad coffee. I've been answering the same questions for 3 hours, my voice growing hoarse as I explain Alfred's scheme again and again. The recording makes it straightforward, but the detective wants every detail. "And the necklace?" she asks, making notes. "A family heirloom." I place the velvet pouch on the table, apparently worth far more than we realized. She nods. "We'll need to keep this as evidence temporarily." I understand. I glance at the clock, nearly midnight. Is my sister still here? Finishing her statement in the next room. When I'm finally released, I find Emma waiting in the lobby, scrolling through her phone. "Bryant took your mother home," she says, standing. "Alfred's being held without bail, flight risk." "And Violet?" Emma hesitates. Still inside, Daria's waiting for her. As if summoned by her name, Violet emerges from a side door, looking small and exhausted. When she sees me, she stops, uncertainty written across her face. "I'll wait in the car," Emma says, squeezing my arm before slipping outside. Violet and I stand in silence, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. All the anger I've carried these past weeks feels suddenly heavy, exhausting. "I didn't know," she finally says, "about Mom's money, about the necklace." "I know," her eyes widen slightly. "You believe me?" "Alfred manipulated all of us." I take a step closer. "But that doesn't erase what you did, Violet. You still chose to sleep with my fiancé. You still chose to humiliate me at my wedding." She looks down. "I was jealous of everything you had, everything you were." "And now?" I ask. "What do you think I have now?" Tears fill her eyes. "Your dignity, your strength." She wipes her cheek. "I never had either." The admission hangs between us. Not quite an apology, but perhaps the most honest thing she's ever said to me. "Where will you go tonight?" I ask. "Daria's offering her couch." She attempts a smile. "Apparently, I've used up all my betrayal allowance with her." I nod, not yet ready to offer more. "Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow." As she turns to leave, I add, "Violet, I'm glad you're safe." The surprise in her eyes says everything about our relationship, how broken it's been, long before Alfred entered our lives. Dawn breaks as I unlock my apartment door, Emma trailing behind me. We're both exhausted, moving on autopilot as we kick off shoes and collapse onto the couch. "You should sleep," Emma says, stifling a yawn. "Not yet." I pull out my phone, dialing a number I rarely use. My mother answers on the first ring, voice alert despite the hour. "Noelle, is it over?" "Alfred's in custody. The police have everything they need." I take a deep breath. "But we need to talk about what happens next." "I've lost everything," she says quietly. "The investments, the house equity. Not everything." I meet Emma's questioning gaze. "I'm transferring funds from my trust to cover your losses." Silence on the line. Then, "I can't accept that." "You're not accepting anything. I'm fixing what Alfred broke." I pause. "But there are conditions." "What conditions?" Her voice turns wary. "Family therapy, You, me, and Violet, weekly. Another long silence. Is that really necessary? Yes. My voice is firm. What happened with Alfred exposed cracks that were already there? We need to address them. And if I refuse? Then you'll still get the money. I close my eyes, finding strength I didn't know I had. But you won't have me. I hear her sharp intake of breath. You'd cut me off? I'd stop enabling patterns that hurt all of us. The words feel right as I say them. I love you, Mom, but I won't sacrifice my well-being for your comfort anymore. When she finally speaks, her voice is different, smaller, but somehow more real than I've heard in years. When do we start? After we hang up, Emma studies me. You okay? Getting there. I lean back, exhaustion washing over me. I never thought I'd be using my trust fund to bail out my mother and rebuild a relationship with the sister who slept with my fiancé. Emma smiles. Life's funny that way. Hilarious. But I find myself smiling too. My phone buzzes with a text from Bryant. Just heard from the jeweler. Your grandmother's emerald is indeed museum quality. The authentication is legitimate. I show Emma the message. At least one good thing came from this mess. Besides exposing your con man fiancé and beginning to heal your dysfunctional family? She asks dryly. Besides that, we lapse into comfortable silence as the morning light strengthens. I think about the woman I was just weeks ago, planning a wedding, trusting blindly, avoiding difficult conversations. I need to shower, I announce standing, then sleep for approximately 3 days. Emma nods. Want me to stay? No. I smile at her surprise. I'm okay being alone now. As she gathers her things to leave, I find myself standing at my window, watching the city wake up. The emerald necklace is still in police custody, but I can feel its weight around my neck, the inheritance of strength I never knew I possessed. Emma pauses at the door. What will you do with the necklace when you get it back? I turn from the window, the answer coming with unexpected clarity. Keep it safe, then someday pass it to someone who understands its true value. Not its price, its history. The story of women who survived betrayal and emerged stronger, a legacy worth more than any gemstone. I am who I choose to be, I whisper to myself as the door closes behind Emma. The words echo in my empty apartment, no longer a statement of defiance, but a simple, powerful truth.
The last morning I spent with my husband, he made me coffee exactly the way I liked it, strong enough to paint with, just a whisper of cream. I remember watching his hands as he stirred, those familiar fingers wrapped around the spoon, thinking how lucky I was that this man knew me so completely. You're staring again, Chloe, Colin said, sliding the mug across our marble kitchen island. His smile had that early morning softness I'd fallen in love with 12 years ago. Just appreciating the view, I wrapped my hands around the warm ceramic, breathing in the rich aroma. Someone has to stroke your ego before you face the board meeting. He leaned across the counter and kissed me, tasting of toothpaste and promise. I'd rather you stroke something else. Later, I laughed, pushing him away. Some of us have actual work to do. The autumn sunlight streamed through our kitchen windows, painting everything in honey gold. It was the kind of perfect October morning that made me believe in forever. Crisp air, leaves dancing outside, the comfortable rhythm of our shared routine. Colin adjusted his tie in the reflection of the microwave, and I pretended not to notice him checking his phone for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. Nervous about the presentation? I asked, though I knew he'd nail it. He always did. Just want everything perfect. He ran a hand through his dark hair, messing it up in exactly the way that made my heart skip. Speaking of perfect, dinner tonight? That new place on Madison? The one with the month-long waiting list. I may have pulled some strings. His grin was infectious. 8 o'clock? It's a date. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Though I should warn you, Cameron's been talking my ear off about their wine list. I might get carried away. Get as carried away as you want. He grabbed his briefcase, then paused. Hey, I love you, you know that. Something in his voice made me look up. For a split second, there was something in his eyes. Something heavy, almost sad. But then he smiled, and it was gone so fast, I convinced myself I'd imagined it. Love you too, I said, watching him head for the door. Knock 'em dead. Those were the last words I said to my husband before the call came. Before everything I thought I knew about my life shattered like a wine glass hitting concrete. I was in the middle of a budget meeting when my phone lit up. Unknown number. I usually ignored those. But something, intuition, fate, whatever you want to call it, made me excuse myself to answer it. Mrs. Walsh, a woman's voice, clinical and careful. This is Mount Sinai Hospital. The world tilted sideways. Hospitals don't call with good news. There's been an accident, your husband's car. The rest blurred into white noise. Words like impact and pronounced at the scene floated past me like debris in a flood. I remember sliding down the wall, my knees giving out. Remember my assistant Jonah finding me there, phone still pressed to my ear long after the call ended. I didn't cry, not then. Instead, I went numb, operating on autopilot. As I called our lawyer, contacted the funeral home, did all the terrible things you're supposed to do when your world ends. Cameron came over with food I couldn't eat and words I couldn't hear. My sister Bailey left 17 voicemails I couldn't bring myself to return. That night, I sat alone in our bedroom, still in my work clothes, staring at Colin's side of the closet. His suits hung in perfect order, navy, charcoal, black. The green tie he'd worn that morning was tossed over the hamper, like any other day, like he'd be back to put it away properly. I picked it up, the silk smooth against my fingers, pressed it to my face, searching for his scent, and there it was, his cologne, but also something else, something floral, feminine. My hands shook as I examined the tie more closely. There, near the bottom, the faintest smudge of pink lipstick. I never wore pink lipstick. The tie slipped from my fingers as the first crack appeared in my carefully maintained shock. And finally, sitting there surrounded by the evidence of our shared life, I began to cry. Not delicate tears, but ugly, violent sobs that tore through me like shrapnel. I cried for the man I'd lost, for the life I thought we had. But mostly, I cried because some part of me, the part that noticed the phone checks, the late meetings, the subtle shifts in his behavior, had known something was wrong, and I'd chosen not to see it. I didn't know then that the lipstick was just the beginning. Didn't know that in less than 48 hours, I'd discover exactly how deep the betrayal went. But that would come later. That night, I just cried until there was nothing left inside me but hollow space and questions without answers. And somewhere in that emptiness, something else began to take root. Something cold and sharp and hungry for truth. Funerals have a way of making everything feel like a dream. Standing in the church vestibule, I watched people file past in a blur of black clothes and sympathetic murmurs. My dress felt too tight, my shoes too sharp. Everything was wrong, but in ways I couldn't quite name. "You're doing great," Cameron whispered, squeezing my hand. She hadn't left my side since arriving that morning, armed with coffee and emergency mascara. "Just breathe." I nodded, not trusting my voice. The lipstick-stained tie was buried in my dresser drawer, along with all the questions it raised. Today wasn't about questions. Today was about surviving. The church filled quickly. Colin had been well-liked, successful. Partners from his firm occupied the first few rows, their wives clutching tissues with manicured hands. Our neighbors, our friends, even his old college roommate who'd flown in from Seattle, all here to say goodbye to a man I was starting to realize I might never really knew. Still no sign of Bailey. My calls had gone straight to voicemail for 2 days straight. Even our mother, who'd been dead for 5 years, would have been appalled at her absence. "The service is about to start." Jonah appeared at my elbow, radiating quiet competence. "Do you want me to say something about the eulogy?" I shook my head. I'll do it. I have to. The walk to the podium felt endless. My heels clicked against marble, each step echoing like gunshots in the hushed sanctuary. The sealed casket loomed to my left, draped in white roses. I forced myself not to look at it. My voice cracked. I gripped the podium harder, knuckles white. Colin was the kind of man who made everything seem possible. The words tasted like ash in my mouth. Every carefully crafted sentence about his kindness, his generosity, his love, they all felt hollow now. But I pushed through, painting the picture everyone expected. The grieving widow, celebrating a perfect marriage cut tragically short. That's when I saw them. At first, I thought grief was making me hallucinate. They stood in the shadow of the back entrance. My sister Bailey, wearing a black dress I'd never seen before, and beside her, Colin. My Colin, alive, breathing, his arm around my sister's waist. The eulogy died in my throat. The paper slipped from my fingers, floating to the floor like a surrendering flag. Someone gasped, probably Cameron, who had followed my frozen stare to the back of the church. The congregation turned as one. The silence shattered into shocked whispers and muffled exclamations. Through it all, I stood paralyzed, watching my dead husband and my baby sister stare back at me with matching expressions of horror. I can explain. Colin's voice carried across the sanctuary. He took a step forward, hands raised, like he was approaching a wild animal. Maybe he was. Something inside me snapped. A laugh bubbled up, high, hysterical, entirely inappropriate for a funeral. Explain? The word came out sharp enough to cut. Explain what, exactly? How you're not actually dead. How you're standing here with my sister while I eulogize an empty casket. Bailey stepped forward then, her face tear-streaked. Chloe, please, don't. The ice in my voice stopped her cold. Don't you dare speak to me. The church had erupted into chaos. People standing, phones recording, voices rising in confusion and outrage. Through it all, I remained at the podium, watching my life implode with strange detachment. Jonah appeared at my side, solid as a mountain. Cars waiting at the side entrance, he murmured. Cameron's already there. I nodded once, straightening my spine. With deliberate calm, I gathered my fallen eulogy pages, smoothed my dress, turned to face the congregation. Thank you all for coming, I said, my voice carrying over the din. Unfortunately, it seems the funeral has been cancelled due to the unexpected resurrection of the deceased. Then I walked out, head high, ignoring Colin's calls and Bailey's sobs. Each step felt like walking through concrete, but I didn't break stride until I was in the car. Cameron's arms around me, Jonah directing the driver to go. I'll kill him, Cameron seethed. I'll actually kill him. No, I said, watching the church recede through the tinted windows. My hands had stopped shaking. The numbness was back, but different now. Not the fog of grief, but the clarity of purpose. Death would be too easy. I thought of the lipstick on the tie, the missed calls, the perfect coffee and careful goodbye, all the pieces clicking into place like a poison puzzle. Chloe? Jonah's voice was careful. What do you want to do? I turned from the window, meeting his concerned gaze. I want to destroy them, I said simply. Both of them. And I want them to feel every second of it. The car turned onto the highway, carrying me away from the funeral that wasn't. Behind us, my old life lay in ruins. Ahead, something new was taking shape. Something made of rage and betrayal, and the kind of cold fury that could reshape worlds. They thought they'd broken me. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 3 days after my husband crashed his own funeral, I sat in my home office, surrounded by papers that proved our entire marriage had been built on lies. Bank statements, property records, email printouts, each one a fresh betrayal laid bare in black and white. Look at this, Cameron said, pointing to a transaction record. Regular transfers to an account in the Caymans, starting 2 years ago, right around the time Bailey got her dream job at that consulting firm. My voice was steady, even as my fingers crumpled the paper's edge. Funny how my little sister suddenly became so successful. Cameron hesitated. There's something else. She slid another document across my desk. The beach house in Martha's Vineyard. It's not in Colin's name anymore. He transferred ownership to Bailey 3 months ago. The beach house, where we'd spent our honeymoon, where I'd told him I loved him for the first time. My throat burned with acid. They're probably there now, I said, standing abruptly. The thought of them together in our special place made me physically ill, hiding out while they figure out their next move. Chloe, Cameron's voice held a warning. Don't do anything rash. Rash? I laughed, the sound brittle. I'm done being rash. I'm done being the reactive one. I picked up my phone, dialing a familiar number. Jonah, remember that contingency plan we discussed? It's time. Within an hour, I was in my corporate office, signing documents that would freeze Colin out of every joint venture, every shared investment, every project he'd built his reputation on. My signature, flowing across page after page, felt like drawing blood. The board meeting's in 10 minutes, Jonah reported, collecting the papers. Are you sure about this? Once we announce the restructuring. I've never been more sure of anything. I stood, smoothing my dress. Colin thought he was so clever, keeping his affair hidden. He forgot one thing. This company was mine before I ever met him. And I've spent 12 years making sure I had contingencies for every possible scenario, including betrayal, though I'd prayed I'd never need them. The boardroom fell silent as I entered. These men had known me for years, but always as Colin's wife first, CEO second. Today, they'd learned the difference. Gentlemen, I took my place at the head of the table. I'm afraid I have some disturbing news about attempts to defraud this company. By the time I finished presenting the evidence, carefully edited to protect the company while exposing Colin's financial manipulations, faces around the table had turned from skeptical to thunderous. The vote to remove him from all positions and freeze his assets was unanimous. I was signing the final resolution when my phone buzzed. Bailey's name lit up the screen. After 3 days of silence, now she wanted to talk. I excused myself to my office, heart pounding, answered on the last ring. Chloe, please. Her voice was raw, desperate. You have to let me explain. Explain what? How long you've been sleeping with my husband? How much of my money you took? It's not like that. She was crying now. You don't understand. Colin said he'd help me with my debts. Said he'd make sure I never had to struggle like we did growing up. He promised me forever. I cut in. Looks like neither of us should have believed him. Please, she was begging now. I know I messed up, but you're my sister. We're family. The word hit me like a slap. Family. My voice dropped to a whisper. Family doesn't do what you did. The sister I loved. She died the moment she walked into that church with my husband. What are you going to do? I thought of the beach house, of 12 years of memories tainted by lies, of the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, seeking comfort from her big sister. I'm going to take everything, I said quietly. The house, the money, the reputation you built with my resources. And when I'm done, you'll both remember what it feels like to have nothing. Chloe, I hung up, hands shaking, pressed my forehead against the cool glass of my office window, watching the city sprawl below. Somewhere out there, my husband and sister were planning their next move, thinking they still held cards I didn't know about. My phone buzzed again. A text from Jonah. Found something interesting in Colin's old emails. Meeting mentioned between him and someone named Kayla from your support group, dated 6 months ago. I stared at the message, pieces clicking into place. Kayla, the quiet one who'd joined our grief support group last year, who'd listened so sympathetically to my stories about losing our mother, who'd asked so many questions about my life, my marriage, my company. Well, wasn't that interesting? I picked up my phone again. Time to arrange a coffee date with an old friend. Kayla was exactly where I expected to find her, at our support group's regular coffee shop, tucked into the corner table she always claimed. Her hands fidgeted with her cup sleeve as I approached, shredding the cardboard into tiny pieces. Chloe, her surprise seemed genuine. Almost. I saw the news. Are you okay? I slid into the seat across from her, studying her face. 6 months ago, I'd held this woman while she cried about her dead husband. Now I wondered if those tears had been as fake as mine would become. Actually, I said, keeping my voice gentle, I was hoping you could tell me about your meeting with Colin last spring. The coffee sleeve stopped moving. Her fingers went still. I don't know what you're talking about. No? I pulled out my phone, pulled up the email Jonah had found. Because Colin's calendar shows a 2-hour lunch with you at Le Bernardin. Interesting choice for a grief support meeting. Color drained from her face. It's not, I can explain. Please do. I leaned back, crossing my legs. Explain how my husband hired you to infiltrate my support group. To what? Spy on me? Learn my weaknesses? He said he was worried about you. The words burst out of her. Said you were hiding things, that you weren't processing your mother's death properly. He just wanted to help. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make nearby customers turn. Help? By having a stranger monitor my emotional state. By using my grief as a weapon. I didn't know about your sister, she whispered. I swear. When I saw the news, save it. I stood, smoothing my skirt. You should know, I've forwarded evidence of your involvement to the support group's ethics board. I expect they'll be quite interested in how you exploited vulnerable members for profit. Her face crumpled. Please don't. This job is all I have. Should have thought of that before you sold my trust for a paycheck. I left her crying into her coffee, my heels clicking against the floor like hammer strikes. Outside, Cameron was waiting in the car. Well? She asked as I slid in. Colin had her watching me for months, reporting back on everything I said in group. My hands clenched in my lap. He was gathering intelligence, building a profile of my vulnerabilities. That manipulative bastard. Cameron's knuckles went white on the steering wheel. What's our next move? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Walsh, a man's voice, official sounding. This is Detective Morris from the Fraud Division. We've received some concerning reports about your company's recent activities. My blood went cold. What kind of reports? Allegations of insider trading, market manipulation. Several board members have come forward with documentation. Of course, Colin's contingency plan. Turn my own board against me. Make me look unstable, vengeful, criminal. I see, I said carefully. And these board members, would they happen to include James Porter and Richard Klein? I'm not at liberty to. The same board members who were involved in Colin's offshore account scheme. The one I have documented evidence of. Silence on the line. Then, perhaps we should meet to discuss this in person. My lawyer will be in touch. I hung up, heart racing. Cameron, I need you to call Jonah. Tell him to implement Protocol B immediately. She nodded, already dialing. What about the beach house? The surveillance team reported movement there this morning. I closed my eyes, remembering Bailey's desperate call, the sister I'd practically raised, plotting against me in the house where I'd once felt safest. Leave it for now, I said finally. They'll expect me to go after the house first. Let them think they have a safe harbor while we dismantle everything else. My phone buzzed with a text. Jonah, board members backing down, found leverage, but there's something else. Bailey accessed her old company email. Message to Colin mentions insurance. Something about files from your mother's estate. The car suddenly felt too small. Our mother's estate, the source of my initial capital, the foundation of everything I'd built. What could Bailey have found? Take me home, I told Cameron. I need to check something. An hour later, I stood in my home office, staring at an empty safe hidden behind my mother's portrait. The contents, documents I'd thought long buried, were gone. My sister's voice echoed in my head. You don't understand. Maybe she was right. Maybe I didn't understand everything yet, but I would. I picked up my phone, dialing Jonah's number. Remember that offshore account we traced to the Caymans? I need everything you can find about transactions from 15 years ago, around the time my mother died. That far back, what are we looking for? I touched the empty safe, feeling the cold metal under my fingers. The truth about how our family really fell apart. The files from my mother's estate weren't the only things missing. As I moved through the house that night, I noticed other absences, small things at first. The antique locket my mother left me, the folder of childhood photos I kept in my desk, even my old diary from high school. Bailey hadn't just taken evidence, she'd taken memories. Found something, Jonah said, his voice tight through the speakerphone. 3 days before your mother's death, she transferred nearly $2 million to an account in Bailey's name. The next day, she changed her will. I gripped the edge of my desk. Changed it how? Originally, everything was split equally between you and Bailey. The new version left you controlling interest in the company. But, he paused, there was a condition. If certain documents ever became public, control would revert to Bailey. What documents? Still working on that. But Chloe, there's more. That money your mother transferred, it bounced back 2 weeks later from Colin's personal account. The room tilted sideways. Colin had known my sister since she was 16. Had he been playing this game even then? My phone buzzed, Cameron calling. Turn on channel 7, she said without preamble. Now, I fumbled for the remote. The news anchor's voice filled my office. Shocking allegations about Walsh Industries CEO, Chloe Walsh. Documents released today suggest a pattern of corporate espionage and financial manipulation dating back to her mother's death. Her sister, Bailey Walsh, released a statement. The screen cut to Bailey, looking perfectly poised in a designer suit. My suit, I realized with a jolt. One I'd bought her last Christmas. I never wanted this to become public, she said, eyes wide with practiced concern. But after seeing what Chloe's done, the people she's hurt, I can't stay silent. Our mother trusted her with everything, and look how she's abused that trust. The remote cracked in my hand. That manipulative little. There's more. Cameron cut in. She's called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Of course she had. Strike while the scandal was fresh, while the board was scared. Classic Colin's strategy, which meant he was the one pulling the strings. My other line beeped, unknown number. Don't, Cameron warned, but I was already answering. Hello, darling. Colin's voice, smooth as poison. Caught the news. Enjoying your puppet show. He chuckled, always so quick to anger. That's your problem, Chloe. You let emotion cloud your judgment, just like your mother did. Don't you dare talk about my mother. Why not? I knew her better than you think, better than you ever did. His tone shifted, became almost gentle. It's not too late to stop this. Sign over control of the company, and all those old secrets stay buried. Everyone wins. Everyone except me. You'll keep your reputation, your dignity. Isn't that worth something? I thought of Bailey wearing my clothes, sitting in my boardroom, trying to take my life piece by piece. Go to hell. Have it your way, he sighed. But before you make any moves tomorrow, you might want to check your private server, the one with all those contingency plans you're so proud of. Interesting reading. The line went dead. My hands shook as I pulled up my secure login. No, I whispered. No, no, no. The server was empty. Every file, every backup, every carefully constructed safeguard, gone. Chloe? Cameron's voice seemed far away. What is it? They have everything. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Every plan, every strategy. They're not just trying to take the company, they're trying to erase me. The silence stretched. Then Cameron said quietly, maybe it's time to call Kayla. What? Why would I? Because she wasn't just spying for Colin. Think about it. She had access to your real emotions, your unguarded moments. If anyone knows what they're planning. I closed my eyes, remembered Kayla's shredded coffee sleeve, her desperate plea. This job is all I have. Make the call, I told Cameron. But first, I need you to drive me somewhere. An hour later, I stood in front of my childhood home, empty now, waiting for renovation. The key was still hidden under the loose brick by the garden. just like when we were kids. Inside, everything was sheets and shadows. But there, in the back of my mother's closet, behind the loose panel where she'd hidden birthday presents, a metal box I hadn't seen in 15 years. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, a letter, addressed to me in my mother's handwriting. And beneath it, a USB drive labeled simply, "The Truth." "Oh, Mom," I whispered, "what were you trying to tell me?" The truth about our family's fall was in my hands. But was I ready to learn it? The USB drive sat on my desk like a live grenade, while Kayla perched nervously in the visitor's chair. Her eyes kept darting between me and the door, like she couldn't decide which was more dangerous. "Talk," I said. "Everything you know about their plan." She twisted her hands in her lap. "Colin, he said your mother's death wasn't what everyone thought, that there were documents proving you'd manipulated things to get control of the company." "That's a lie." "Is it?" Her voice strengthened slightly. "Because he showed me bank records, phone logs, evidence that you were meeting with board members weeks before she died." My throat went dry. I was 20. Of course I was meeting with board members. Mom was grooming me to take over eventually. "Eventually," Kayla echoed. "But not that soon. Not unless something happened to her." The implication hit me like a physical blow. "You think that I had something to do with?" "Colin said the truth would destroy you. That's why he needed someone close. Someone who could watch for signs you were cracking under the guilt." I laughed, the sound brittle. "And Bailey, was she part of this twisted theory?" "Bailey found something in your mother's papers, something that made her believe." My phone buzzed. "Jonah." The board meeting's starting. Bailey and Colin just arrived. I checked the time. 8:45. 15 minutes until they tried to take everything. "Show me," I told Kayla. "Show me exactly what Colin showed you." She pulled out her phone, fingers trembling as she pulled up emails. There they were, documents showing meetings, transfers, conversations I barely remembered from 15 years ago. All carefully arranged to paint a damning picture. "The perfect daughter," Kayla said softly, "who couldn't wait to inherit." I stared at the evidence against me, feeling sick. Then I saw it. A tiny detail in one of the bank statements. A routing number I recognized. "Call Cameron," I told Kayla. "Tell her to meet us at the office, now." The drive downtown was a blur. My mind raced, pieces falling into place. That routing number, I'd seen it before, in Colin's Cayman accounts. We reached the office building, with 5 minutes to spare. Cameron was waiting in the lobby, holding a manila envelope. "Got what you asked for," she said. "But Chloe, are you sure about this?" I wasn't sure about anything anymore, except that I needed answers. The boardroom fell silent as I walked in. Bailey sat in my usual chair, wearing another outfit from my closet. Colin stood behind her, hand on her shoulder, the perfect united front. "Chloe," Bailey said, all false sympathy, "this is a closed meeting. You're not authorized to—" "Funny thing about authorization," I cut in, moving to the head of the table. "It depends on who's really in charge, doesn't it, Colin?" He stiffened slightly. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my mother's USB drive. 15 years ago, someone started building a shadow network inside this company. Secret accounts, hidden transfers, all traced back to one source. I met his eyes. "You've been playing this game since before Mom died, haven't you?" "That's ridiculous," Bailey snapped. "He didn't even work here then." "No, but his father did." The room went very still. Colin's face had turned to stone. "Robert Walsh," I continued. "Board member, trusted advisor, and the man who helped set up our offshore accounts. The same accounts you're using now." "You can't prove any of this," Colin said, but there was a tremor in his voice. I plugged in the USB drive. Documents filled the screen. Correspondence between my mother and Robert Walsh. Plans to expose his embezzlement scheme. Her final letter to me, explaining everything. "Mom knew," I said softly. "She was going to turn your father in. That's why she changed her will, isn't it? Insurance against what she knew was coming." Bailey had gone pale. "Colin? What is she talking about?" "She's lying," he snarled. Just like she lied about. About what? My meetings with the board? The ones your father arranged to keep me distracted while he cleaned out the accounts? I turned to Bailey. He didn't tell you that part, did he? How his family has been stealing from ours for decades. Enough. Colin slammed his hand on the table. This is all very entertaining, but we have a vote to. No vote today. Cameron stepped forward, dropping her envelope on the table. Federal investigators are on their way up. Seems they're very interested in those Cayman accounts, especially the ones linked to Robert Walsh's old employee ID. Colin moved faster than I expected, lunging for the door. Security caught him before he made it halfway. Bailey, I said quietly, it's not too late to choose the right side. She looked between us, tears streaming down her face. Then she stood, walked to Colin, and slapped him hard across the face. I trusted you, she whispered. As federal agents filled the room, I watched my sister crumple into Cameron's arms. The truth had come out, but the cost was higher than I'd imagined, and something told me we weren't finished paying it yet. The interrogation room smelled like stale coffee and desperation. Colin sat across the table, his designer suit wrinkled, his perfect mask finally cracking. I'd waited 3 hours to face him, watching through one-way glass, as federal agents picked apart his lies. 10 minutes, the agent said, closing the door behind me. Colin's smile was ghost-thin. Come to gloat? No. I sat down, folding my hands on the table. I came to understand. Understand what? How I played you. His laugh was hollow. It wasn't hard. You were so desperate to be loved, to have the perfect family, just like your mother. Was that why you chose me? Because I reminded you of her? Something flickered in his eyes. I chose you because you were convenient, young, naive, sitting on a fortune you didn't deserve. Like the fortune your father stole? I leaned forward. The money he embezzled while pretending to be Mom's friend. My father was brilliant, Colin snarled. He built this company as much as yours did. But your precious mother couldn't see that. She was going to ruin everything. So you finished what he started. Married me to get inside. Used Bailey to. Bailey, he sneered. So easy to manipulate. All those daddy issues. That desperate need for approval. One kind word, and she was putty in my hands. The door burst open. Bailey stood there, trembling. Cameron, right behind her. You son of a bitch, my sister whispered. Colin's face went slack. Baby, I didn't mean. Don't. Bailey's voice cracked. I heard everything. The agents let me listen. She turned to me, tears streaming. Chloe, I'm so sorry. I thought, he made me believe you were the villain. Divide and conquer, I said softly, just like his father taught him. You think you've won. Colin's composure shattered completely. You have no idea what's coming. Your mother's death wasn't an accident, and neither was your father's. You think my dad worked alone? The people behind this. The door opened again. Jonah entered, followed by a distinguished older man I'd never seen before. That's enough, son, the man said. Colin went white. Dad, Robert Walsh, looked every bit his 70 years as he approached the table. It's over. I've given them everything. Names, accounts, evidence going back 30 years. You can't, Colin whispered. They'll kill us. No one's killing anyone, Robert said. I made a deal. Full immunity in exchange for testimony against the entire network. I stared at the man who'd helped destroy my family. Why now? He met my eyes, and I saw genuine grief there. Because your mother was right about everything. And watching my son destroy another generation. I couldn't live with it anymore. Colin lunged across the table, hands reaching for his father's throat. Agents swarmed in, restraining him, as he screamed accusations of betrayal. Through it all, I stood perfectly still, watching the scene like it was happening to someone else, until I felt Bailey's hand slip into mine. What do we do now? She whispered. I squeezed her hand, remembering all the times I'd protected her when we were young. We rebuild. Together. After everything I did. You were a pawn, I said. We both were. But we're not pieces anymore. We're the players. As they led Colin away, still shouting, I turned to Robert. The complete truth about everything, including my parents. He nodded heavily. You deserve that much. But Chloe, some truths are harder than others. I can handle it. Can you? He pulled out an envelope, handed it to me. Your mother wrote this the night she died. She knew what was coming, but she thought she had more time to prepare you, to finish what she started. My hands shook as I opened it. Mom's familiar handwriting filled the page. My dearest Chloe, if you're reading this, I failed to protect you from what's coming, but I didn't fail to prepare you. Everything I've done, the lessons, the training, the seemingly endless preparation, was for this moment. They think they've won, but they don't understand what you're capable of. What we built isn't just a company, it's a weapon. Use it wisely, use it for justice. All my love, Mom. I looked up at the room full of broken men and mended relationships, feeling the weight of legacy settle onto my shoulders. Jonah, I said quietly, call the board. It's time to finish what my mother started. Bailey squeezed my hand again. Whatever you need, I'm here. Cameron nodded firmly. We all are. The truth had nearly destroyed us. Now it would set us free. But first, we had work to do. The beach house looked exactly as I remembered. Weathered gray shingles, white trim, endless ocean beyond. But this time, I wasn't here to hide memories. I was here to make new ones. Ready? Bailey asked, carrying a box of files up the front steps. I nodded, unlocking the door. The foyer still smelled of sea salt and old wood, but the rest of the house had been transformed. Gone were Colin's pretentious art pieces and designer furniture. In their place, corkboards covered in documents, computers humming with data, the command center of our investigation. Cameron looked up from her laptop. Robert's testimony just implicated 3 more board members. The FBI's moving on them now. Good. I spread Mom's letter on the kitchen island, my touchstone these past weeks. What about the offshore accounts? Frozen, Jonah reported. Every penny they stole is being traced. But Chloe, he hesitated. There's something else. Something about your father's death. My heart stuttered. What about it? He pulled up an email chain. Robert confessed that your father discovered the embezzlement first. He was gathering evidence, planning to expose everything. The car accident that killed him wasn't an accident, I finished. The words tasted like ash. Bailey's hand found mine. There's more. Mom knew. That's why she started training you so young. Why she was so insistent about you learning every aspect of the business. She was preparing me for war, I whispered. And I never even knew we were fighting. The doorbell rang. Unexpected, since only our small team knew we were here. Cameron checked the security camera and went pale. It's Kayla, and she's not alone. On the screen, Kayla stood on our porch beside an elderly woman I'd never seen before. But something about her face. That's impossible, Bailey breathed. But it wasn't. When I opened the door, I found myself staring into eyes exactly like my mother's. Hello, Chloe, the woman said softly. I'm your Aunt Margaret, your mother's twin. The aunt we'd been told died before we were born. The aunt whose existence had been erased from every family record. I know this is a shock, Kayla said quickly. But after everything happened with Colin, I started digging. Found her living under an assumed name in Seattle. Why? I managed. Why did Mom hide you? Margaret's smile was sad. To protect me, and you. I was the company's original CFO, before your mother. I discovered the corruption first, tried to fight it. They tried to kill me, just like they later killed your father. Your mother helped me disappear, then took my place fighting them. And now, Bailey asked. Now I have 30 years of evidence against every person involved in this conspiracy. Names, dates, transactions, everything your mother and I collected. Together with Robert's testimony, we can end this, I finished. All of it. The next hours were a blur of revelations. Margaret's evidence filled in every gap, connected every dot. The corruption went deeper than we'd imagined, but so did the groundwork our mother had laid to fight it. Near dawn, I found myself on the beach, watching the sun rise over the Atlantic. Bailey joined me, 2 cups of coffee in hand. "Remember when we used to sneak out here as kids?" she asked. "Watch the sunrise and pretend we were pirates? Planning imaginary adventures." I smiled. Mom used to catch us every time. She was teaching us even then how to be brave, how to fight for what matters. Bailey turned to me. "I'm so sorry I forgot those lessons." We both did, but we remember now. Behind us, the beach house hummed with purpose. Inside, our team was preparing to release everything. All the evidence, all the truth, all the justice our parents died protecting. "What happens after?" Bailey asked. "When this is all over?" I thought of Mom's letter, of the weapon she'd built disguised as a company, of the strength she'd planted in me, disguised as business lessons. "We keep fighting," I said, "not for revenge anymore, for something bigger." The sunrise painted the waves gold, like possibility made liquid. In that light, I could almost see Mom watching us, not the grieving daughter and the manipulated sister, but the warriors she'd raised us to be. "Together?" Bailey asked. I took her hand, feeling the weight of legacy transform into purpose. "Together," I promised. "We have a lot of work to do." The sun cleared the horizon, burning away the last shadows of our old life. Ahead lay truth, justice, and the real adventure our mother had prepared us for all along. This time, we were ready.
I knew something was off the moment I heard my mother's hushed voice through the kitchen door. "We need April here now. It's the only way this will work." My father's muffled response made my stomach twist. "She'll never agree if she knows the truth." I should have trusted my instincts right then, but when you're raised to believe family comes first, red flags just look like flags. My name is April, and this is how I learned the hard way that blood isn't always thicker than water. "April, sweetheart." My mother's voice shifted to sugary sweet as I pushed through the door. She quickly ended her phone call, sliding her cell into her pocket. "We didn't hear you come in." "Sorry I'm early for dinner," I said, watching their faces carefully. The meeting at work finished sooner than expected. My father busied himself with the dishes, avoiding eye contact. "Well, you're just in time. We need to discuss something important." Mom gestured to the kitchen table, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against the wood. "Sit down, dear. This is about Guillermo." My brother's name got my full attention. "Is he okay?" "He's being deployed again," Mom said, retching for my hand. 6 months, maybe longer." "What about Sawyer and August?" I asked, thinking of my niece and nephew. "That's exactly what we need to discuss." Dad finally turned around, leaning against the counter. "The kids need someone to stay with them in Guillermo's house. Their mother's not in the picture, and we're too old to handle 2 young children full-time." I felt the trap closing in before they even sprung it. "We need you, April." Mom squeezed my hand. "The kids need you. Guillermo needs you." "I have a job," I protested. "A life. My apartment." "You can work remotely," Dad cut in. "Most companies are flexible these days, and you've always said you wanted to spend more time with the kids." "When does he deploy?" 2 weeks. Mom answered too quickly. I pulled my hand away. 2 weeks? And he's just telling us now? "You know your brother." Dad shrugged. "Never wants to worry anyone." Something didn't add up. Guillermo always planned everything meticulously, especially when it came to his kids. He would have had arrangements in place months ago. "Let me call him." I reached for my phone. "He's in pre-deployment training," Mom interrupted. "Very limited contact, but he agreed this would be best for everyone." I looked between them, searching for signs of deception. "You're sure he's okay with this?" "Of course!" Mom's voice rose slightly. Why wouldn't he be? The next hour was a blur of guilt trips and emotional manipulation. They had answers for everything. My job concerns, my lease, my social life. By dessert, I felt cornered into agreeing. I'll need to give notice at work, I said, pushing away my untouched pie. We'll help you move this weekend, Dad said, already pulling out his phone to make arrangements. That night, I called my best friend Shia. Something feels wrong. I paced my apartment. They were too prepared, too pushy. Then don't do it, Zia said simply. But what if Guillermo really needs me? Those kids... I stopped pacing. I can't let them down. Your parents are master manipulators, Thea reminded me. Remember the Christmas incident? I did. They'd orchestrated a family crisis to prevent me from taking a job in Seattle 3 years ago. Just be careful, Thea advised. Document everything. 2 weeks later, I stood in Guillermo's living room, surrounded by boxes and 2 excited kids. Sawyer, 7 and precocious, hadn't stopped chattering since I arrived. 5-year-old August clung to my leg like a koala. Daddy said you're staying forever, Sawyer announced, helping me unpack kitchen boxes. Not forever, sweetie. Just until your dad comes home. Grandma said forever, August mumbled into my knee. I froze, a coffee mug suspended halfway to the cabinet. Grandma said that? Uh-huh. She told the man with the clipboard you're staying forever so they can sell the house. The mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the floor. As I cleaned up the pieces, my mother's whispered words from 2 weeks ago echoed in my head. It's the only way this will work. What exactly had I gotten myself into? Don't worry about the mess. Mom appeared in the doorway, making me jump. I'll clean it up. You focus on getting settled in. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. After all, we want everything to be perfect, don't we? Perfect for what? I wanted to ask. Instead, I nodded and hugged the kids closer. Whatever game my parents were playing, they'd chosen the wrong pawn. 3 weeks into my new role as substitute mom, I'd developed a routine. Drop Sawyer at school, take August to preschool, work remotely from Guillermo's home office, then tackle the mountain of tasks that came with caring for 2 kids. It would have been manageable if not for my parents' constant hovering. The realtor's coming by today, Mom announced, letting herself in without knocking. Again. I looked up from my laptop. What, realtor? Oh, just for an assessment. She waved dismissively. Insurance purposes. Shouldn't we wait for Guillermo to handle that? Your brother gave us power of attorney before he left. Dad appeared behind her. Standard procedure for deployment. I'd worked in legal services long enough to know that wasn't standard at all. I'll need the office cleared out by 2. Mom started opening drawers. And maybe the kids could stay at our house tonight? They have school tomorrow. I closed my laptop, and I promised Sawyer we'd video call her class pet's new babies. The hamsters? Mom wrinkled her nose. Surely that can wait. No, it can't. I stood my ground. The kids need routine right now. After they left, I searched Guillermo's office. The drawer Mom had been rifling through contained property documents, but something was missing. I remembered seeing a blue folder here last week. My phone buzzed. A text from Thea. Coffee, I'm in your neighborhood. 20 minutes later, we sat in a quiet corner of the local cafe. They're up to something, I whispered, stirring my latte. Yesterday, I overheard Mom on the phone talking about market value and quick sale. Have you heard from Guillermo? Thea asked. No, and that's weird too. He always finds a way to contact the kids even during training. A familiar voice carried across the cafe. The property is perfect for development. Once we clear the title... I grabbed Thea's arm. 2 tables over sat a man in a suit, the realtor, I assumed, talking to someone on his phone. Yes, Mrs. Morgan assured me the current occupants are temporary. We can close within 60 days. My coffee turned to acid in my stomach. Did he just say Morgan? Thea whispered. Your mom's maiden name? That night, after tucking the kids in, I searched Guillermo's email. His password had always been predictable. The kids' birthdays combined. The most recent emails were from 3 months ago. Hey, big brother, I typed. If you get this, please contact me. Something's not right. Auntie April? Sawyer's voice made me jump. She stood in the doorway, clutching her stuffed giraffe. I had a bad dream. I closed the laptop. Come here, sweetie. She crawled into my lap. When is Daddy coming home? Soon, I lied, hugging her tight. Want to tell me about your dream? Grandma said we have to move away. She sniffled. She said Daddy's house is too big for us now. My blood ran cold. When did she say that? When she was showing the man my room. She didn't know I was listening. I carried Sawyer back to bed, my mind racing. Once she was asleep, I called the one person who might have answers. Khalil Howard Real Estate. This is Jessica speaking. Hi, I'm calling about a property assessment scheduled for tomorrow. Oh yes, the Morgan listing on Pine Street. Morgan listing, not Russell listing. Could you confirm the appointment time with Mrs. Morgan? I kept my voice steady. She asked me to check. Actually, Mr. Howard is meeting both Mr. and Mrs. Morgan at the property at 2. They're finalizing the listing agreement. I thanked her and hung up, hands shaking. My parents weren't just planning to sell Guillermo's house. They were already in the process. But how? They'd need the missing blue folder, power of attorney documents. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Signal weak. Got your email. What's wrong? G. Before I could reply, I heard the front door open. Mom's voice drifted up the stairs. The kids' rooms need painting before we list, she was saying. Neutral colors sell better. Ruby, shh, Dad hissed. April might hear. Oh, please, she's clueless, Mom scoffed. Just like her brother, too trusting for their own good. I pressed my hand against my mouth, stifling my anger. Through the gap in the office door, I watched them climb the stairs, carrying paint samples and carpet swatches. My phone buzzed again. April, you there? Signal dropping. Call base command if emergency. I typed quickly. They're selling your house. Need proof of power of attorney. Call ASAP. The message failed to send. When I tried again, the number was invalid. Downstairs, the front door opened again. More voices joined my parents. Male voices discussing property values and development potential. Game on, I thought, opening my laptop. Time to find out exactly what they were planning and how to stop it. What do you mean they forged the documents? Thea nearly spilled her wine. I spread the papers across her dining room table. Look at the signature date on the power of attorney. 3 months ago. But here's Guillermo's bank statement from the same day. He was in Georgia for training. Holy shit! Thea leaned closer. And you found this in their car? Mom left her briefcase in the garage while they were painting upstairs. I had 10 minutes. My hands shook as I sorted through the evidence. There's more. They've already accepted an offer from a development company. They're planning to tear down the house and build condos. But why? Your brother's house is paid for, right? That's what I thought. I pulled up an email on my phone. But I found this in Mom's deleted folder. They co-signed on a bad investment last year. Lost everything. They're underwater in their own mortgage. So they're stealing from their own son to fix their mistakes? Thea's face reddened with anger. While he's serving our country? My phone buzzed. Mom again. I ignored it. The worst part, I continued. They've been planning this since before Guillermo's deployment. They needed me there to make it look legitimate, like the family was all on board with the sale. What about the kids? According to these documents, they're planning to move them into their house, paint me as an unstable caretaker if I object. My voice cracked. They've thought of everything. Not everything. Thea grabbed her laptop. I have a friend who works at the county records office. Let's see what else they've been up to. 3 hours and another bottle of wine later, we had a clearer picture. My parents had created a shell company to buy the property. They'd used Mom's maiden name on everything, probably hoping Guillermo wouldn't connect the dots. April, Thea said suddenly. What if Guillermo's deployment isn't real? I stared at her. What? Think about it. Have you actually spoken to him? Seen deployment papers? My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from August's teacher. Is everything okay? He's very upset about moving. I have to get back. I stood up, gathering the documents. The kids! Wait! Thea grabbed my arm. You can't go back there alone. What if they realize you know? They won't. I'm their clueless daughter. Remember? I tried to smile but felt sick. Besides, I need to keep playing along until I can reach Guillermo. Back at the house, I found Mom in the kitchen with the kids. There you are. She smiled too brightly. We were just discussing summer plans. The children are so excited about moving in with us. No, we're not, Sawyer protested. I want to stay in Daddy's house. Now, sweetheart. Mom's voice hardened slightly. We've talked about this. Sometimes we have to make changes. What changes? I interrupted, watching her face carefully. Oh, just general changes. She backpedaled. Growing family, new opportunities. When's Daddy coming home? August asked for the 100th time. Soon, darling. Mom patted his head. Now, who wants ice cream? After the kids were in bed, I sat in Guillermo's office, staring at his deployment photo. Something was off about it. I zoomed in on my phone. The date stamp. It was from his last deployment, 2 years ago. My hands trembling, I called the base command number I'd found earlier. Fort Stewart, Sergeant Phillips speaking. Hi, I'm calling about my brother, Guillermo Russell. He deployed recently. 1 moment. Keys clicked. No deployment orders for anyone by that name in the last 6 months, ma'am. The room spun. Could you check again? He's supposed to be in pre-deployment training. No training records either. Last activity was an honorable discharge 3 months ago. I hung up, bile rising in my throat. 3 months ago. When the power of attorney was dated, a floorboard creaked behind me. Finding anything interesting? Dad stood in the doorway, his face unreadable. Just missing Guillermo, I lied smoothly. Any word from him? He studied me for a long moment. Your mother thinks we should all have dinner tomorrow. Discuss the future. Sounds great. I forced a smile. I'll bring dessert. After he left, I sent a coded message to Thea. Red alert. G not deployed. Need lawyer ASAP. My phone lit up with an incoming email from Guillermo's account. "Help," it read. "Can't call. In hospital. Parents took everything. Don't let them sell house. Protect kids." The timestamp was from 10 minutes ago. Another creak in the hallway. Mom's voice, low and urgent. "She knows something. I saw her car at the county office building." "Then we move faster," Dad replied. "Call Khalil. Tell him we close next week." I sat in the dark office, my brother's words burning on the screen, and made a decision. They wanted to play hardball. Game on. The hospital receptionist sighed at my third attempt. "I'm sorry, but without knowing which hospital—" "Please," I begged. "He's my brother, Guillermo Russell, recently discharged military." "Ma'am, I've checked every hospital in a 50-mile radius." I ended the call and slumped in my car, parked outside my parents' house. They were inside with the kids, thinking I was at a work meeting. Instead, I'd spent the morning calling hospitals and Veterans Affairs offices. My phone buzzed. Thea. "Lawyer friend can meet today, 2 p.m. A tap on my window made me jump. Khalil, the realtor, stood there, smiling. "April, right? Your parents mentioned you'd be joining us for the walkthrough." I forced a smile and got out. "Actually, I have some questions about the sale." "Of course, though your parents handle most of the paperwork as power of attorney." "About that." I pulled out my phone. "Could you look at something?" Before I could show him the forged documents, Mom burst out of the house. "April, you're early." She grabbed my arm. "Khalil, would you mind giving us a moment?" She practically dragged me inside. Dad sat at the kitchen table with papers spread out. "Where are the kids?" I asked. "At the park with the sitter," Mom replied. "We need to talk." "About what? The fake deployment? The forged documents? Or how about Guillermo being in a hospital somewhere?" The color drained from Mom's face. Dad stood up slowly. "Who have you been talking to?" he demanded. "Does it matter? I know what you're doing." "We're doing this for the family," Mom insisted. "The market's perfect right now. The development deal will set us all up for life." "It's not your house to sell." "Your brother made some mistakes," Dad cut in. "Bad investments, gambling debts. We're protecting his assets before creditors take everything." "Liar." I pulled out my phone. "I have proof of the forged documents. I'm calling the police." Dad moved faster than I expected, snatching my phone. "Sit down," he ordered. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." "Eugene," Mom protested. "She's bluffing. She doesn't have proof." "Really?" I pulled the papers from my bag. "These copies say otherwise." Mom lunged for the documents. I dodged, but Dad blocked the doorway. "Think about the kids," Mom pleaded. "They need stability. Once the sale goes through, you'll pay off your debts and disappear." I spat, leaving us with nothing. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Mom's eyes widened. "The kids are supposed to be at the park," I realized. "They heard everything, didn't they?" "Sawyer! August!" Mom called out. "Come down, sweeties." No response. "I'll check on them." Dad started up the stairs. "Don't bother." I pulled out my backup phone, the one Thea had insisted I get. "They're not here. While you were watching me, you weren't watching them." "What did you do?" Mom grabbed my arm. "They're safe, with people who actually care about them." I yanked free. "Now, about that proof!" Dad thundered back down. "Their rooms are empty." "Call the police," Mom ordered him. "She kidnapped them." "Go ahead." I held up my phone. I'm recording everything, and in about 10 minutes, my lawyer will be receiving emails with all the evidence, including the conversation we're having right now." "You wouldn't," Mom whispered. "We're your parents." "Parents don't steal from their children. Parents don't forge documents or fake deployments." "We had no choice," Dad shouted. "The investment—" "Eugene, shut up!" Mom cut him off. "No, please continue," said a new voice. Khalil stood in the doorway, his phone also recording. "I'd love to hear about the fraudulent sale I was almost part of." Mom crumpled into a chair. Dad's face went purple. "I called the police myself," Khalil continued. "They're on their way, along with someone from the VA fraud department." "How long were you listening?" Mom asked weakly. "Long enough." He turned to me. "The kids?" "With my friend Thea and her lawyer, safe and sound." Dad made a move toward the back door. Khalil stepped in his way. "I wouldn't. Fraud charges are one thing. Fleeing the scene makes it much worse." Sirens wailed in the distance. Mom started to cry. "April, please," she begged. "We can work something out, as a family." I walked to the door, then turned back. "You know what the worst part is? If you'd just asked for help, told us the truth, we would have helped you. Instead, you tried to steal everything from your own son while he's lying in some hospital, unable to defend himself." "We never meant—" Dad started. "Save it for the police," I cut him off. "I have a brother to find." As I walked out, I heard Mom collapse into sobs and Dad arguing with Khalil. But all I could think about was Guillermo's email. Help. Can't call. In hospital. I got in my car and called Thea. "The kids okay?" "Perfect. Eating pizza and watching cartoons. What's next?" "Next?" I started the engine. "We find my brother." "Veterans Affairs Hospital in Atlanta," the nurse confirmed. "Your brother was admitted 3 months ago. Motorcycle accident." My knees buckled. Thea grabbed my elbow, steadying me. "Why weren't his emergency contacts notified?" I demanded. "They were. Your parents visited several times in the first month." The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. They knew. This whole time, they knew. "Would you like his room number?" 4 hours later, I stood outside room 412, trying to gather courage. Thea had stayed behind with the kids, sending me with a thermos of coffee and strict instructions to call immediately. I pushed open the door. Guillermo lay in bed, his right leg elevated, scrolling through his phone. His face lit up when he saw me. "About time, sis." I rushed to hug him, careful of the tubes and wires. "Why didn't you call me?" "They took my phone, my laptop, said they were handling everything." He grimaced. "Told me you were too busy with your career to help." "While they tried to sell your house out from under you." "Yeah, got your email about that yesterday when they finally brought my stuff back. Had to wait for the nurse to help me access it." He gripped my hand. "The kids?" "Safe, with Thea. Mom and Dad were arrested this morning." He closed his eyes. "Damn. I knew they were in financial trouble, but this—" "How bad is it?" I gestured to his leg. 3 more weeks of rehab. Could have been home already if I'd had proper care from the start." His jaw clenched. "They pulled me out of the first rehab facility, said it was too expensive, moved me here where they could control everything." "Control the story, you mean? They told everyone you were deployed." "Classic Ruby and Eugene," he snorted. "Always about appearances." A nurse entered with medication. "Time for physical therapy, Mr. Russell." Wait. I pulled out my phone. The kids want to say hi. The video call connected. Sawyer's face filled the screen. Daddy! She screamed. August pushed his way into view, both kids talking over each other. Hey, Munchkins. Guillermo's voice cracked. I've missed you so much. Are you coming home? August asked. Soon, buddy. Auntie April's going to help me get better. Promise you won't let Grandma and Grandpa take our house? Sawyer's lower lip trembled. Never, he promised. No one's taking our home. After saying goodbye, I followed Guillermo to physical therapy. He filled me in between exercises. Mom and Dad showed up right after the accident. Said they'd handle everything. Next thing I know, I'm signing papers while high on pain meds. The power of attorney. Must have been. Everything's fuzzy from that time. He winced as the therapist stretched his leg. By the time I realized something was wrong, they had control of everything. My accounts, my phone, even my military benefits. But why keep you here? Why not just forge your signature again? Too risky with the VA involved. Easier to keep me isolated and controlled. He managed a weak smile. They didn't count on my stubborn sister. My phone buzzed. A text from Taya. Police need statement. Parents requesting deal. No deals, Guillermo said, reading over my shoulder. They need to face consequences. The detective mentioned fraud charges, elder abuse, possibly federal charges for the VA fraud. Good. He gripped the parallel bars, taking tentative steps. You know what hurts most? They used you. Used the kids, their own family. Speaking of family, I showed him the real estate documents. Want to guess who the development company belongs to? No way. Uncle Robert, Mom's brother. The whole thing was a family scam. Guillermo stumbled. The therapist caught him. That's enough for today, she said firmly. Back in his room, I helped him settle in. 3 weeks? I asked. Give or take. Doctor says I'm healing well, just needed proper care all along. I'll get the house ready. The kids can't wait to have you home. April! He caught my hand. Thank you. For everything. That's what family's supposed to do. Actually, help each other. My phone buzzed again. The detective. Parents requesting meeting with children. How do you want to proceed? I showed Guillermo the message. Your call, he said. You're their guardian until I'm back. No, I replied to the message. No contact until court proceedings complete. They're going to lose everything, Guillermo mused. The house, their reputation, probably their freedom. They lost something way more valuable already, I said, putting my phone away. They lost us. He nodded, then grinned suddenly. Hey, since you're handling things, there's this nurse, Maria. She's been really kind. Maybe you could... One family drama at a time. Big brother. I laughed for the first time in weeks. One drama at a time. They want to what? I nearly dropped my coffee cup. The kids looked up from their breakfast, startled. Your parents are requesting a plea deal? Our lawyer, Marcus, repeated over the phone. They want to meet with you and Guillermo first, today. Absolutely not. Actually, he paused, this could work in our favor. They don't know Guillermo's being discharged this afternoon. I glanced at the calendar. 3 weeks had flown by, filled with hospital visits, lawyer meetings, and helping the kids process everything. What's the catch? I asked. No catch. They think they're negotiating from a position of strength. Let them believe that. 2 hours later, I sat in a conference room at the police station. Mom and Dad looked smaller somehow. their designer clothes replaced by department store basics. April. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. Don't, I warned. Just tell me why we're here. We want to make this right, Dad said. We've prepared a full confession, but we'd like to handle this privately. Keep it in the family. Family? I laughed bitterly. You mean like how you handled Guillermo's accident? Or selling his house while he was recovering? We were desperate. Mom's voice cracked. The investment scheme. We lost everything. Your Uncle Robert promised this development deal would fix everything. By stealing from your own son? We would have paid him back, Dad insisted, once the condos were built. The conference room door opened. Mom's words died in her throat. Guillermo stood there, leaning on a cane but very much alive and present. The color drained from my parents' faces. Hey, Mom. Dad, he said coldly. Miss me? But you're in Atlanta, Mom stammered. Was in Atlanta, until my sister found me. You know, the daughter you called clueless? Dad started to stand. Son, we can explain. Sit down. Guillermo's voice could have frozen hell. You've done enough talking. Now you're going to listen. He limped to the table, dropping a thick folder between them. Complete records of everything. The forged documents, the fake deployment papers, the hospital transfer you arranged to isolate me, even the kickback arrangement with Uncle Robert. Mom began to cry. Dad stared at the table. We have two options, Guillermo continued. Option 1, we proceed with all charges. Fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy, federal charges for the VA fraud, looking at 15 to 20 years each. Please, Mom whispered. We're your parents. Option 2, he ignored her. You sign over everything. Your house, your assets, your shares in Uncle Robert's company. All of it goes to a trust for the kids. You can't, Dad started. I can and I will. You tried to steal my children's future. Now you'll guarantee it. We'll be left with nothing, Mom protested. Like you plan to leave us? I cut in. Karma's funny that way. Guillermo slid another document across the table. Full confession and asset transfer. Sign now or we walk out that door and let the prosecutors handle it. You wouldn't, Dad challenged. Try me. Guillermo's voice was steel. You have 30 seconds. Mom grabbed the pen first, hands shaking as she signed. Dad hesitated longer but followed suit when Guillermo stood to leave. One more thing, I added. You don't contact us. Ever. No calls, no letters, no surprise visits. The kids are off limits. They're our grandchildren, Mom cried. Should have thought of that before using them as pawns. I stood up. Goodbye, Mom, Dad. Outside, Guillermo sagged against the wall. You okay? I steadied him. Better than okay. Free. He managed a smile. Ready to see the kids. They've got a surprise for you at home. The surprise turned out to be a Welcome Home Daddy banner, slightly crooked and covered in glitter. Sawyer and August launched themselves at Guillermo the moment we walked in. Careful of his leg, I cautioned, but he was already on the floor with them, hugging them tight. Daddy, look! August pointed to the window. We planted flowers, and I kept your room clean, Sawyer added proudly. Auntie April helped. Speaking of help, Thea appeared from the kitchen with Maria, the nurse from the hospital. Dinner's ready. You invited Maria? Guillermo whispered to me, straightening his shirt. She helped me coordinate your discharge. Seemed only fair to include her in the celebration. Later, After the kids were in bed and Maria had left, with Guillermo's phone number, Tia raised her glass. "To family," she toasted. "The real kind." "To Karma," I added. "To my sister," Guillermo finished. "The best kind of family anyone could ask for." My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Papers filed. Parents' assets transferred. It's done." I deleted the message without responding. Some chapters needed to stay closed. "Hey." Guillermo nudged me. "Stop thinking so hard. We won." He was right. We had won. But more importantly, we had survived together, and that was worth more than any house or money our parents could have stolen. "You're doing what?" Guillermo nearly choked on his coffee. "Starting a consulting business," I repeated, spreading brochures across his kitchen table. "Helping people protect themselves from financial fraud and family scams." 6 months had passed since our parents' downfall. Guillermo was walking without a cane. The kids were thriving, and I'd discovered my calling. "Using your experience to help others," Maria chimed in, setting down a plate of pancakes. She practically lived here now. Not that anyone was complaining. "It's brilliant. It's more than that." I pulled up my laptop. "Look at these statistics. Elder fraud, family financial abuse, real estate scams. They're all increasing. People need someone who understands both sides." "Both sides?" Guillermo raised an eyebrow. "The legal side and the emotional side. Most victims don't come forward because they're ashamed, because it's family." Sawyer wandered in, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Are you leaving us, Auntie April?" "Never, sweetie." I pulled her into my lap. "But remember how some bad people tried to take Daddy's house?" She nodded solemnly. "Well, I'm going to help other families make sure that doesn't happen to them." Like a superhero. August appeared, his hair sticking up in all directions. "Exactly like a superhero." Maria winked at me. "Your aunt's going to save people." My phone buzzed. Thea. "Meeting set with investors. They love the concept." "Speaking of saving people," Guillermo said once the kids were occupied with breakfast, "did you see the news about Uncle Robert?" I pulled up the article. The development company had collapsed, taking several investors down with it, including our parents' remaining assets. "Karma's still working overtime," I mused. "Ms. April?" Our new nanny, Rachel, poked her head in. "Your first client is here." I straightened my jacket and grabbed my briefcase. The elderly woman waiting in the living room clutched a familiar-looking folder. "Thank you for seeing me." She twisted her hands. "My son. He's trying to sell my house. Says it's for my own good, but something feels wrong." "You're safe here." I sat beside her. "Tell me everything." 2 hours later, I had a new client and a clear case of attempted fraud. As I walked her to her car, Thea pulled up. "Ready for lunch? We need to prep for the investors." "Actually," I gestured to my notes, "I need a favor. Could you look into a property transfer in progress? Something's fishy." "Already working on another case?" She grinned. "You're a natural." Back inside, Guillermo was helping the kids with an art project, while Maria prepared lunch. "Your mother called the landline," he said quietly. My stomach clenched. "What did she want?" "To apologize. Said she's in therapy, wants to make amends. And I told her we'd consider it. In about 20 years. I hugged him, paint from his shirt smearing on my blazer. "You're getting soft, big brother." "Nah," he smiled. "Just happy, really happy." My phone buzzed again. A text from Marcus. "Got another referral for you. Family trust dispute. Interested?" "Very." I replied. Auntie April, Sawyer called. Come see our painting. The kids had created a chaotic masterpiece, a family portrait. There was Guillermo, Maria, the kids, me, Thea, even Rachel. No sign of grandparents. It's our real family, August explained proudly. The ones who love us for real, Sawyer added. Maria wiped a tear, and even Guillermo looked emotional. Perfect timing. Thea walked in. Your investor meeting just got moved up. They want to fast-track the funding. Go, Guillermo urged. We've got this covered. But, April, Maria cut in, you helped save this family. Now go help save others. I grabbed my things, hugging everyone goodbye. At the door, I paused to look back at my chosen family. Guillermo and Maria helping with homework, the kids arguing over crayons. Thea already on the phone chasing leads. My phone lit up with another message, an unknown number. We're sorry. Please let us see the kids. Mom. I blocked the number without hesitation. Some bridges needed to stay burned. Ready? Thea called from her car. Ready? I joined her, pulling out my presentation. Let's go help some families. You know, she said as we drove, most people would have crumbled after what your parents did. Instead, you turned it into a mission. That's the thing about betrayal, I replied, watching the city scroll past. It either breaks you, or it builds you into something stronger. And which are you? I thought about the family we'd built from the ashes of betrayal, about the clients waiting for help, about the strength that comes from choosing love over blood. Definitely stronger, I smiled. Definitely built. And that's why we never trust someone just because they're family, I concluded, facing the packed conference room. Trust is earned, not inherited. The audience applauded. As people filed out, a young woman lingered, clutching a notebook. Ms. April? Her hands trembled. Your story. It's happening to me right now. Before I could respond, Thea appeared at my elbow. Your brother's calling, says it's urgent. Give me 1 minute, I told her, then turned back to the woman. Come to my office tomorrow. First consultation is free. Racing to my car, I called Guillermo back. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, he laughed, but you need to get home. Now. I broke several speed limits getting to his house. The driveway was packed with cars, including Thea's, which I'd just left at the conference center. How had she beaten me here? The front door burst open before I could knock. Sawyer grabbed my hand, practically vibrating with excitement. You're finally here! Come on! Inside, the house was full of people. Clients I'd helped, families we'd protected, friends we'd made along the way. Maria stood by the fireplace, beaming. Guillermo had his arm around her, both dressed up more than usual. What's going on? You've been so busy saving everyone else, Guillermo said. You forgot what day it is. I blinked. Tuesday? It's exactly 1 year since you found me in that hospital. He squeezed Maria's hand. 1 year since you saved our family. We couldn't let it pass without celebrating, Maria added. August appeared, carrying a large scrapbook. Look what we made! The book was filled with letters, photos, and newspaper clippings. Stories of families I'd helped, homes I'd saved, scams I'd stopped. In the center was the kid's family portrait, now professionally framed. But that's not all. Thea stepped forward. Tell her, Guillermo. My brother cleared his throat. Remember Mom and Dad's house? The one they signed over? I nodded. Well, we're turning it into a shelter. for families escaping financial abuse. Maria's running it, and your company will provide free consulting services. The ultimate karma. Thea grinned, using their house to help the people they tried to hurt. A small commotion at the door drew our attention. Marcus entered with an elderly couple, my first clients. We had to come. The woman hugged me. You saved our retirement, our home. Now we volunteer at the senior center, warning others about scams. More stories poured in. The single mom who almost lost her inheritance, the grandfather whose children tried to steal his business, the widow who nearly fell for a real estate scheme. All here, all safe, all stronger. Speech! Someone called out. I looked around at these faces, survivors, fighters, family by choice rather than blood. A year ago, I began, I thought family meant obligation, meant letting people hurt you because you shared DNA. I was wrong. Guillermo squeezed my shoulder. Family is what we build, not what we're born into. It's the choices we make, the trust we earn, the love we choose to give and receive. And the pancakes we make, August interrupted, making everyone laugh. Yes, buddy, especially the pancakes. I ruffled his hair. But you know what the best part is? What? Sawyer asked. That sometimes the worst betrayals lead us to our best selves. My parents thought they were destroying us. Instead, they made us unbreakable. Maria raised her glass. To being unbreakable. As everyone toasted, my phone buzzed. A news alert. Local investment firm indicted for fraud. Robert Morgan faces federal charges. I showed Guillermo the headline. Should we send Mom and Dad a copy? He asked dryly. No need. I slipped the phone away. They'll see it from their new apartment above the discount store. Auntie April! Sawyer tugged my sleeve. Maria says she has a surprise. Maria stepped forward, glowing. Well, since everyone's here, Guillermo and I are having a baby. The room erupted in cheers. As everyone congratulated them, I watched my niece and nephew dance around, already celebrating their future sibling. You okay? Thea appeared beside me. Better than okay, I smiled. We won. Really won. Not just won, she corrected. You turned winning into helping others win, too. The party continued into the evening. Stories were shared, plans were made, bonds were strengthened. Not once did anyone mention our parents or the past they'd tried to steal, because that's the thing about family, real family. It's not about who shares your past. It's about who helps you build your future. And our future, it was absolutely unbreakable.